It has been a crazy day of open division so far, and it is not over yet. I am your host, CookieB, joined by the fantastic analyst desk of Pokemon Panda and CookieB. We just saw the #1 seed for Open Division NA Season 3, Phase 2, knocked down to the losers bracket finals by Shoes Money Crew. Now they are going to be facing off against #8 seed Goats, and we have seen them go up against each other before, guys. Pokemon Panda, CookieB, I think this is going to be fairly explosive. And CookieB, I want to hear more about what you think, what we're going to see of these two teams clashing in this final that will hopefully lead them on to the grand final, one of these two.
Yeah, I'm definitely hoping not for a repeat of what we saw in the first round between those two teams, because it was kind of a very one-sided matchup for Phase 2 against Goats. They really just used their own composition that they had their name made from on the side of Phase 2 and just used it to bulldoze over Goats. So I definitely hope we get a more of a competitive series. Phase 2 in a position really where they shouldn't be, but Goats, in this loser bracket run, they are the defending champions back-to-back, looking to make it a three-peat here. They've already secured their contenders trial spot for another season. So I'm really interested to see what this team brings out. And hopefully they got theirs a little bit of scouting from their first round, and hopefully it'll bring them to a closer series against Phase 2 here.
And Pokemon Panda, of course, we have Phase 2, which, as I said, is the team to beat, and it was kind of a shock to see them fall down to this losers bracket. But as CookieB mentioned, this 3-3 comp, they've beaten Goats at their own game before.
When it comes down to 3-3, Phase 2 definitely seemed to understand it, as well as their creators of Goats. But when Phase 2 end up bringing it through, I like the word that you used earlier of explosive, because that's really how these two teams will end up going further in these proverbial slapfest that is 3 tanks and 3 supports on the battlefield, so a total of 6 each at one time. But I gotta give the upper hand over to Moore, the Ana player, on Phase 2. Look out for this competitive player in particular, an ex-Mayhem Academy player at that. His biotic grenades, his personal placement, and judgment on when to use the cooldowns of Ana are next to nil, top tier, and the side of Goats, they definitely struggled with it in their previous matchup. Gator definitely had a hard time getting anti'd more often than not. But for Phase 2 especially, they are fantastic at their own 3-3 composition in between Ana and Lucio, with Insomniac hitting the speed boost, pressing the go button at a moment's notice.
Right, and CookieB, both of these teams have something to lose here, of course. You've got Goats that has won the last 2 Open Division NAs, so they might end up losing that title in this game against Phase 2. But Phase 2, again, also, this is their time to shine. They're the number 1 seed, so they should be going all the way.
Yeah, I mean, this is a team that we were watching the game beforehand while we were getting set up, and we were thinking, it's a 2-0 for Phase 2. This is an easy win for them. And then they managed to, they were downloaded a bit by Shoes Money Crew, unfortunately. So an interesting position for them. And as you mentioned, Goats, they're trying to get that three-peat, very unprecedented that you win all 3 competitive seasons of Open Division in a year. And if you're able to do that as Goats, it's going to be absolutely huge for them and their brand. Getting back, it's not even really the same team, just a few pieces and left over from the last team. So getting there again is going to be great for Goats, and I definitely think they have the ability to. But Panda mentioned it, more on that Ana, and I saw it last time with July. And I think they're kind of the same player where they use those Ananades very aggressively on the main tanks, and Gator has a little bit of a tendency to play a little bit over aggressive. So it's definitely something to watch out for.
Statements are what they're going for too here, CookieB, and I'm glad you mentioned that as well. A three-peat of Open Division winners for Goats, that'd be absolutely huge. But to turn it back around on who knocked you down in the losers bracket to begin with of Phase 2, now that's another statement that you could just ride all the way into the sunset, whether you actually take Open Division as a victor, which we know that Goats are trying to land in that first place spot, but just riding into trials altogether with Phase 2, that's how you know that they're going to be keeping that with a smile on their face.
And what I really want to know from both of you before we get this thing started, CookieB, I'll start with you. Who do you think is going to come out of this losers bracket to go on to these grand finals?
I think it's going to be Phase 2. The only caveat here that I can even think of is that if Goats was watching the last match that we watched and they saw how Brandito was able to play Doomfist against them, if Goats has that type of Doomfist play in their back pocket, it's definitely something that they can use to win this matchup. I don't know if they do, so I'm going to take the safe bet here, and I'm going to go with Phase 2 winning at a 3-1. I don't think it'll be as convincing because Goats and them have already played. Goats has some new information on them and some scouting, so I think it'll be a 3-1, pretty pretty convincing for phase 2, but definitely, like I said, if Goats has that Doomfist play, they might be able to make this a closer series.
Panda?
I'm going to go ahead and say Goats. Goats, throughout the entirety of playoffs for Open Division, they lost to phase 2 on the beginning, but they've been learning. They've been getting better. They have that Super Saiyan mentality, if you will, of just getting stronger per every fight that they have been up against. And I can see them figuring out that they have to get through 2 key targets of phase 2, to Kenobi's point as well, more, but also Wub. Wub is an excruciating DPS to play against. He lays down the damage and will always be there in the proper position for his ultimates. But I have been seeing Goats in particular with Boostio, Arai, and Gator keeping the front lines together and just really finding the damage in a mass quantity and just overrunning their team. If they can continue that snowballing pressure that they have built to this exact match, I can see them taking away this entire series. It's not going to be easy. I can see it go into a game 5, but I can see Goats taking it.
Well, and we will have to see, of course, with map 1 about to get started here pretty soon. So the Analyst Desk, we're going to hand it over to our casters, Rian and Katrina. It is all you guys. Have fun.
You know, it's funny that Panda mentions that Super Saiyan mentality, because these guys, their power level is over 9,000. Katrina, we're going to be starting off on Lijiang Tower. What do you think these guys are going to be running here?
Well, I mean, it has to be the triple tank, triple support of Goats, but we are headed first to Garden, so I think we might see a little bit more variety coming from these two teams. This map is susceptible to having great Doomfist play. You can have a really excellent time having a more divey composition with your tanks. So I'm anticipating seeing a couple of more niche choices, not necessarily that Goats composition coming from Goats that we have been so used to. What do you think, Rian?
You know, I think Gardens is definitely a very Pharah-centric map, so we might see a little bit of that here and there, but I wouldn't also be surprised if we see a lot of dive. I know teams do like to play that because you just jump all around, get everywhere at once. You're very mobile on dive, and that's kind of what you need to be on these control maps. You need to be able to go to multiple different places and take advantage of, you know, if you have the point or how you want to attack the point.
And it does look, though, that phase 2 will be going with that triple tank, triple support composition, but with more going on to the Ana, who he has been outstanding on throughout Open Division, instead of the more typical Moira pick. Unless something is going to change, we have Boostio on the Bastion. Something tells me that that will be switched up, but right now he is still maintaining that pick.
Okay.
Well, we'll go with it. But right now, I am definitely watching for more, having that influence on phase 2 to really shut down some of the more aggressive tanks, especially Gator.
This is a very interesting pick here on Boostio with this Bastion. I'm feeling he's going to be really playing to kind of break down the shields that the phase 2 have right now, and it seems to be working already. You see them have to hide around the corner, and a big anti-nade takes Wub down right away. Now the rest of the Goats know they can play aggro here with that Brigitte and that Lucio down. Moore's the next to fall. Quick early cap for Goats.
Yes, really fascinating seeing that Bastion work. I don't think I've ever seen that actually on Garden.
That's so strange.
So right now, phase 2 needs to think of how they're going to directly counter this Bastion. Usually it takes a team effort to dislodge that hero. So right now, no changes coming in yet. Moore is getting closer to that nano boost, but in terms of ultimate, only Gator is the one with an Earth Shatter available, but is slept.
That is going to be a bit of a wrench in the gears of the Goats here for a second. But Gator, he's finally up from his nap here. He's nice and refreshed. Just want to get a quick power nap in. Shatter comes out. Sneaks a few around the corner of Duplicate shield. The question is, can the rest of Goats follow up? And the answer is going to be yes, actually, as Duplicate, Hawk, and Insomniac fall. 3 picks. The rest of the phase 2 really's got no chance. And Goats is going to hold here.
Yes, and even though they do have to back off, Sinker has been doing very well on the Zarya, still maintaining high charge throughout these fights, and is 80% towards that Graviton Surge, not far off from Sit, who is on 86%. But right now, there are 3 ultimates, including the tank formation for Bastion. We'll see what Boostio is able to do. Maybe get some environmental kills.
He's kind of creeping in the back here, waiting. I assume he's going to use his tank form as soon as the phase 2 is more pushed in. Now lots of ultimates being invested by Goat's tank mode, but Boostio's going to be slept here. And now he's pressured by Wub on this Brigitte, but here comes Gator, charging in, all glowing red with that nano boost, but Hawk picks up 2. Gator's looking low. He goes down to Duplicate. Wub takes Tensa, and that's going to be a recap for the phase 2, but 70% for Goats.
Yes, very vital early kill onto Sit, who did have that Graviton available for that fight. It's going to be really important to see which Graviton comes out first, whether it will be Sinker on phase 2 or Sit, but an early Ikor will now be switching to the Zenyatta instead of the Ana. An interesting choice, probably to try to counter Sinker's Graviton, but if Moore gets a great anti-nade, a Transcendence will be useless.
You see Sinker here. He's playing very close to his team, as is Sit. Both of them want to get a good Graviton opportunity here. But there they are from both sides. Everyone caught with the sound barrier from FaZe 2. There's a big shatter from Gator. He finds a big one. Charges in now, looking for more. He finds more, but a counter shatter from Duplicate. And a Diva Bomb in the backline is going to wipe off the face of the planet of the Goats here. And now FaZe 2 continue to hold this point. What a combination of ultimates that was, Katrina.
Hawk getting 2 kills with that self-destruct. Now we do have a team kill, and right now Goats needs to see if they want to keep up with this composition. Yes, they did switch to Ikor being on the Zenyatta as opposed to the Ana, but right now it seems like the momentum is all in FaZe 2's wheelhouse right now, but there are no ultimates available on this side.
You see Gator here, he's waiting. Oh, Duplicate charges in, has the bubble, gonna be able to stay alive. Duplicate really wants to build up to a shatter here at 70% off one Sig, 80%, now 90. He's got a shatter. He might choose to use it here as he's been backed into a corner just a little bit. Hawk catches 2 though, so Duplicate can save the shatter for next fight. You saw Tensa there try to get that boop onto Duplicate to get the pick, but really, it wouldn't matter in the end. Oh, Transcendence invested from Ikor here. He wanted to get the reinforcements back, but I would have just wiped there.
Yes, I completely agree. And also, that fight was won largely because Gator was taken out so early. Very aggressive Reinhardt has been punished on, and FaZe 2 is now have to respond to this Graviton.
You see Insomniac here is close to that sound barrier, but a shatter knocks down Duplicate, Wub, and Hawk. There's that sound barrier we were waiting for, but not before Wub is taken down. Here's a Graviton Surge. RI is caught in it as well as Tensa. Can the rest of FaZe 2 capitalize on this? They've got 99% on the point. It's just a question of if FaZe 2 can eventually win out this fight. It doesn't seem like it, as all their members are falling like flies on this point. So Goats is going to recap Katrina, but it's looking good for FaZe 2.
Yes, and we do see Wub going back from the Doomfist onto the Brigitte. Duplicate does have an ultimate available. That Earth Shatter has already made such a difference during this round. And with 80% right now, percentage-wise for Goats, there's going to have to be only probably one fight left in this entire match, and Ikor has that Transcendence to provide all the extra healing that his team needs. Arai is going to have to be using that defense matrix wisely to eat up any anti-aid coming in for more.
Duplicate here, if he gets a shatter Ikor, you expect him to be playing around the corner so he can use that Transcendence to keep his team alive. There it is. Now that shatter is not going to find anything because of that wonderful Transcendence. Graviton Surge out on the point now from Sit here. Catches Hawk, who's going to be investing a bomb here. It's not going to be the Hawk bombs as we've seen in the past, but here comes a shatter from Gator now. It's looking great for Goats at the moment. They've got the man advantage on the point. They wipe FaZe 2 out, and that's that 199 going to the Goats on Lijiang Gardens.
Yes, Arai was able to get some really important kills last second with that self-destruct, finalizing the win for Goats onto Gardens. But let's see what our next map will be for Lijiang Tower. It will be Night Market. So this map, we were talking about how the Pharah can often be used in Lijiang. This is a map where we might see that, and that can have great effect against that triple tank, triple support composition, as you're pretty much out of reach of most of the supports and tanks that are used in these compositions, unless, of course, an Ana is being played. But let's see what compositions right now Goats is considering. You do have Ikor staying on the Zenyatta, as opposed to the Ana that we did see most of the time on Gardens. And as for the side of FaZe 2, Wub will be on the Doomfist. So being able to disrupt the backline is a win condition for sure for FaZe 2 on Night Market.
Absolutely. If there's one thing Doomfist is good at, it's getting early picks. Let's see what he can find. Invest 2 cooldowns, all 3 actually, and doesn't find anything for the time being. He's got the punch all charged up here. Catches Arai with a big hit, but 3 already down for FaZe 2. It's not going to happen. Wub couldn't find that early pick, and as you can see, Ghost just collapses.
Yes, team kill for the first take of this percentage, but right now, I would like to highlight how Sinker was the first to fall. When you lose that Brigitte, not only do you use the area of effect healing that she provides when she is dealing damage, but that armor is now unavailable for Duplicate on the Reinhardt, making sure that he can't be as aggressive as he wants. And that has really made a difference, as Gator is already 80% towards the Nerf Shatter.
Oh, Wub charges in, but the bubbles just knock him down, and he's down already. Ikor picks up 2 here on this Zenyatta. Call him Jay Jonak, but the American equivalent. So that would be a bit of a K-Konak, if you would.
Oh man, but seriously though, Goats is on fire. As you can see right now, all of the viewers can see that every single member is working in such great coordination, and therefore they do have 3 ultimates online. Sit especially having the Graviton, whereas Hawk is only 70% towards his, will be extremely vital for this next fight.
Oh, Sit with a Graviton. He was waiting around the corner. All the members of FaZe 2 caught, and it's going to be a quick quick wipe for them. Boostio picks up 2 there on the Brigitte, and 50% in counting for Goats.
Yeah, and Goats only needed to use that one ultimate there. Graviton Search is probably the most important ultimate in the game to keep track of, but right now, because they only invested that one, they have 4 others online and extra armor coming in from Boostio. That will make Ikor so much more, pretty much unfallible on that Zenyatta, as it will take a lot more to kill that Zenyatta.
Duplicate knocked down very early. Oh, Reinhardt's colliding on the point. Duplicate, though, is very low. There's a Graviton. Nice anti-nade onto and Gator. Tensa falls again. Phase 2 looking like they got this one in the bag here.
Yes, and with 75% percentage right now on the side of Goats, it's important for Phase 2 to really capitalize and hopefully not use too many ultimates as they are finishing off the defense coming in from Goats. And yes, they are able to do that with Duplicate and more, and Wub still maintaining their ultimates. Wub is going to have to be very aggressive and does get the kill onto Ikor.
There we go, and now Meteor Strike, he's looking for more, he's hungry, he's gonna scuff it a little bit on top of that, I don't know, restaurant, sushi bar, but Yater now, Ghost is taking this right to the Phase 2 spawn practically, or vice versa rather, and Wub needs to back out for the time being as he's pretty low HP, but the rest of the Goats, they want to be able to get some kills here, but they do find Duplicate instantly, and now with that Reinhardt down, who even had the Shatter, more is just an easy target to be picked off with no shields. The rest of Phase 2 really doesn't have an opportunity to win this fight.
No, Goats was just surrounding that Reinhardt there in Duplicate and just made it impossible for him to escape with his life, even with that charge. And with 90% now on the for Goats, it's going to take one last push with great coordination. Here comes that Graviton.
Oh, Duplicate here got his Shatter off, and the Nano Boost here doesn't get any picks. However, it's still a 3v6 here. Duplicate tries to get on the point, but he's going to be taken down before he gets the opportunity. Wub in the corner trying to contest by all means possible, but it's not going to happen. Phase 2 are unfortunately stuffed out on Li Jiang, 2-0'd on both the Gardens and the Night Market. We're never going to get to see Control Center. Very well played from Ghost there, Katrina.
Yes, and Gator was really charging forward very aggressively, but was rewarded for that aggression as so many Earth Shatters really determined whether or not pushes would be successful. Not only was Goats able to stay very close together, it's so vital for that triple-triple composition for that to even work out for you to do so, but oh my goodness, look at that quadruple kill coming in from Hawk. Of course, we're getting used to seeing him shine on the Diva, but right now, Phase 2 have been defeated for their 4th map in a row as they were reverse swept by Shu's Money Crew. The momentum is definitely going to be something to consider when you're thinking about whether or not Phase Crew can shut them, can shut those emotions out and try to maintain a more of a level head going into this next map, which will be Rialto.
Man, Rialto, such a beautiful map. You know, whenever I see Rialto, I always want to go here, eat at some of these restaurants, get myself a nice bowl of spaghetti. In Italy, you know, I mean, I feel like you gotta get some spaghetti while you're in Italy. Ride on these wonderful gondolas. Don't kill the Omnic gondoliers, by the way. That is not in good taste whatsoever. But I feel like Rialto, definitely a great vacation destination. Katrina, if you were gonna go to an Overwatch map for vacation, which one would it be?
Oh, that's such a hard.
Aren't you?
Oh, I was going to, but now I'm going to have to say Ilios. I think Ilios is such a beautiful map with great environmental kills. And right now, as we go into Rialto, we might see even more of those coming from the defense. As that first bridge, we've seen many Roadhog hook enemies off of that side. So let's see right now what Phase 2 will do on the defense. So we do see that Hawk and Duplicate will be running those dive tanks of Diva and Winston. Wub will stay on the Doomfist that has been serving him very well. But interestingly enough, more is on the Zenyatta, whereas Insomniac will be playing Ana. So we have seen more shine with sleep darts, especially on this Ana. So I'm curious to see what Insomniac will do on this Ana, if we'll see a different play style for this hero. But most importantly, we have Sinker on the Sombra, arguably overpowered hero right now.
Oh, yeah.
So definitely an early EMP will be vital for this defense.
Yeah, for sure. You know, the comp that the Phase 2 are running is this Disruption Dive. They want to go in the backline, hack a nice target, usually one of the tanks, take down that shield. Insomniac will throw that Biotic Grenade and prevent any healing, and then Doomfist just goes in and gets a bunch of picks.
Yes, and that's going to be the exact composition that they need, as there is, once again, that triple tank, triple support Goats composition coming from, of course, the Goats team. And right now, they kind of have an idea of what they're running. Sinker is going to be scoping out this composition, trying to get an early hack, ideally onto Gator.
Bit of a swap here from the Goats. Sit over to the Roadhog, and Ikor swapping over to the Moira. He's kind of trying to insanguinate Sinker here. Ikor alone and forcing Sinker to translocate all the way back to his little hideout there. But now you see the high ground. This is the advantage that the defense has. They can just drop down on the members of the Goats here without having to take any damage of themselves. And you see, this is where teams are usually held on the attack because of this high ground advantage. It's a bit of a brawl in the front line. What was the first to fall to E-Core's pinball? Don't exactly know what that's called. I don't even remember, Trina, but Goats takes this first fight.
I mean, it's easy to forget when you're seeing Goats just have so much dominance there.
Yeah.
Right now, sit on the Roadhog. I'm excited to see this hero pick. It's going to be really important for Insomniac to get those anti-nades and to pretty much deny Sit any type of self-healing available, as right now without an Ana, there is probably an advantage for phase 2 overall in terms of support composition, but that Ana is gone after that self-destruct.
They've only got more on the front line here, and his Transcendence is worn off, so Wub has to really take the brunt of the healing with that Air Effect and hoping he's getting anything. But now with Boostio removing Wub from that fight and more falling as well, there's absolutely nothing that the phase 2 can do but concede this first point. We move into the streets phase of Rialto.
Yes, and let's see right now what composition changes we will see. Sinker is already switching from the Sombra onto Azaria, so yes, it will be a Goats composition most likely in response to Goats' own triple tank, triple support composition, but Icar and Boostio both have ultimates right now, as the Coalescence and all of that armor coming in from Brigitte will make it even more difficult for Sinker to make an impact on Zarya, who now has only an ultimate charge of 9%.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely see Tensa here with this sound barrier could protect his team as they push in here, but Duplicate picking up 2. Gator and Sit both down here. Really no tanks left beyond Arai, and the only damage mitigation that the Goats will have is that defense matrix, which is, of course, a fickle mistress and doesn't always last too long. But, you know, interesting. You see phase 2 swapping to Goats to counter Goats as Goats. How many Goats can we fit in a sentence, Katrina?
Oh, my goodness. Too many already. But we did see this is pretty much the first team fight that phase 2 has won during this map, and that was largely because of Moors being able to call out all of those Discord orbs on the Zenyatta. Really great focusing of targets on the sides of phase 2.
Oh, Duplicate almost let his shield down for too long to get that shatter, but a counter shatter from Duplicate knocks Gator right down. He's looking very low here, but he's going to be able to get the support. The peeling from Arai there on that D.Va, able to give him Matrix and allow him to survive it. Now Arai and Boostio both down for Goats. The rest of Goats now in shambles as they're falling apart and retreating back to their spawn.
Even though they are a bit in shambles, as you did say, Sit will have that Graviton Surge for the next fight. So unless Hawk is able to eat that with the defense matrix, I think this next team fight will be won for the Goats composition, especially since Tensa does have a sound barrier to really combat any type of high aggression coming in from phase 2.
And Sinker here, he's about 80% on this grab, but again, you gotta watch out for Sid here. He's got his ready and raring to go. Graviton in the backline, catches 3. Insomniac forced to use that sound barrier to keep his team alive, but Gator just knocks him right back down with that Earth Shatter. Bomb up top here from Hawk, finds Gator, but the damage is already done. 2 down for the phase 2, and the rest of them just fall like dominoes here. Another Graviton Surge comes out onto Sid and Ecor here. Defense might be stabilizing just a tad bit, but it's just not going to be enough, Katrina. Sinker, despite his best efforts with that Graviton Surge, can't secure the picks, and Goats keeps rolling.
That happened in also Sid's Graviton Surge. However, there was just so much follow-up coming in with Gator's Earth Shatter, as well as Boostio being able to give all of that extra damage with the mace on the Brigitte, so that yes, that failed Graviton was really compensated for. There needs to be much more follow-up coming in from phase 2 to be successful.
Bomb over the top here. Oh my goodness. All right, that's a big one. That's exactly what you need to win this last point here. We've seen holds for so long, but all right just says, not this time. It's not going to happen. I'm going to throw a bomb up top, take off half your team with a snap of my fingers, and now Goats moves to the art gallery.
Yes, and they have a phenomenal time going on right now. Almost 4 minutes left on the side of Goats, and everyone, once again, is on fire. I am happy to see more switching onto the Ana. I think that this choice will not only provide the anti-nades necessary to counter this composition, but also a key sleep onto Gator can put the rest of this offense in shambles.
Oh, Seth's Graviton!
Oh!
Eaten up by Hawk there. Hawk, great presence of mind with that Graviton to eat that up, and now D.Va Bomb over the top. All the rest of the Goats able to duck to the side rooms and avoid that for the time being, but Gator has the Nano Boost. Big anti-nade on the front lines here. He's trying to follow up, gets the first pick on a Duplicate, and now Sinker falls as well. Sit already 50% to another Graviton, so no harm, no foul that you missed that first one.
There's a little bit of harm there, as Hawk really did shine on that D.Va, but right now as Boostio is leading the charge as that Brigitte, we're running out of space for phase 2. Sinker will have a Graviton Surge. Maybe Arai can repeat what Hawk just did and eat that one as well.
All right, Wub here using that rally preemptively, wants to give his team some armor and charge onto this front line here, but Duplicate again caught with that anti-nade. Here's a shatter from Gator here, but now you gotta watch out. D.Va Bomb up top. Gets 2 from Arai there. Another big bomb from him is what we've seen again and again. Duplicate knocked aside here. He's trying to stay alive. He charges Boostio into the wall, but is it enough? No. He's going to pay for that charge because he gets off of the point, and that's going to be that, Katrina. Nice time bank for the GOATs on Rialto.
And 2 Gravitons eaten one after another during that round. Incredible awareness coming in from the Divas. It's a bit shocking that if it happens to you once in a game, but twice back to back, we are spoiled with some excellent Diva play today. And right now, phase 2 will have to come back with a very aggressive push, as with 2 minutes and 22 seconds remaining on the time bank. GOATS was very successful that offense, winning most of the team fights, conserving a lot of important ultimates, investing one at a time most of the times. So ultimately, I think that GOATS has the advantage still here. Phase 2 might have to shake off that loss they just got from Shu's Money Crew and really reincorporate some of the key strategies that they know, because they have beaten GOATS before. They know how to beat this team.
Yeah, it's great you mentioned that, because I was going to bring that up myself, is that, keep in mind, phase 2 has already won once against GOATS, but GOATS really, this is a bit of a revenge story for them, being taken down a notch by phase 2. Now they want to take down phase 2 themselves, and Katrina, this is definitely, these players are really playing out of their minds. We've seen huge plays all across the board, and as now we're going to swap it up. GOATS on this defense, what do you think? How do you think that these guys are going to continue to play to try and keep winning these maps?
I mean, it's obviously with the GOATS right now. I mean, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But right now, if these compositions are going to stay the same, this is nearly a mirror composition, almost same composition. Actually, it will be exactly a mirror, as Moore is considering playing that Zenyatta, whereas Iker is definitely locked in to that healer. So it's going to be very vital for Moore to make a difference on that Ana if he does choose to go out of spawn with this character. Get a vital sleep dart, get an even more important anti-nade, and cancel out all of the healing, especially area of effect healing coming in from that Lucio and Brigitte. That's the matchup you want to watch.
Yeah, keep in mind that GOATS here, their composition doesn't really have a lot of consistent healing, more in the terms of bursts, small bursts here and there, but that anti-nade is just going to spell disaster for them right away, as Duplicate, Gator rather, with a big charge into the backline. Duplicate falls, but Boostio falls in turn. 5v5 on the front lines here. Gator, D-Mex Hawk here with the help of Arai. Shortly, he's finished off, so Wub has to duck around the corner. He's got no shield, and he's an easy target.
Really well played by Arai. I thought that fight was going to go to phase 2 after that excellent anti-nade. Look at Moore, already at 84% towards that nano boost, most likely going to go onto Duplicate, whereas Sit will have a Graviton Surge this next fight. So both sides will have ultimates to spare.
Absolutely, and it's just a question of which ultimate will get more value. Will it be Sith's or will it be Moore's here? Here comes Duplicate charging into the back line as the Graviton comes out on the front lines. No picks quite yet. Duplicate just being the big bad wolf, or the big bad Reinhardt, to scare off the members of the GOATS for the time being. Shatter comes out right into Duplicate's shield, knocks Hawk, Moore, and Sinker down in the back, but they're not going to be able to capitalize off of that. Transcendence comes out. Alright, caught with an anti-nade, very low, able to stay alive. Graviton Surge comes out, Boostio down already. They're going to be able to use that sound barrier on the side of GOATS to try and keep their members alive, but again, they're already, the damage has been done. Katrina, Gator's fallen, Boostio's fallen, Sit, the next to go down. Bomb comes over the top, takes down Wub, but Alright just can't continue to fight that fight. He's going to have to regroup with his team.
And in that single long fight, Moore was able to charge up another nano boost, and Duplicate does have an Earth Shatter ready. So right now, if I am correct, this offense is going to push so far forward, giving the payload as much room as possible, taking revenge on GOATS for that very aggressive and successful offense from this last round. So right now, Sit does, though, have another Graviton Surge. Will Hawk be able to eat it again?
Let's see, that's going to be the question on everyone's minds here, as, you know, Hawk is engaged in a bit of a duel here with Arai, and as a result, he's distracted, and that Graviton Surge connects from Sit there. However, Insomniac has got the coverage with that sound barrier, able to keep the team alive, and a shatter from Duplicate makes him think twice about ever coming in their territory ever again. Oh, Insomniac taking that Lucio dominance over Tensa, giving him a bit of a nice swim in the waters of Rialto.
Yes, it must be lovely, except he's going to end up going back to spawn, and with 4 minutes and 9 seconds left on the clock for phase 2, there is a lot of room for them to work. I wouldn't be shocked if in the next pushes we see a major team fight, as both teams will want to build up even more ultimates. There's only 2 available on each side, so you're going to want to see some very aggressive play. High risk might lead to high reward.
We'll see. Sinker's got this grab, and of course Gator's got that shatter. It's going to be which tank ult comes out first, and both of them basically come out at about the same time. But Boostio falls, bomb over the top. Duplicate going to get a pick onto Sid as well. Another Diva Bomb, both invested in this fight, and both of them are going to come up dry here. Insomniac out on the front line, trying to support his team, giving them the speed and the heals, whatever they need. He's got it, and it is going to help them to win this fight. Now speeding his team forward, wants to get some stagger picks here onto Sid.
Yes, and Wub has just been sticking to the side of Duplicate this entire time, giving that extra healing and armor to that Reinhardt, allowing him to be so aggressive, and therefore we do have that Reinhardt having another Earthshatter, whereas Gator is only at 40%, so Duplicate has a lot to work with. Phase 2 could really steamroll this third point if they use these ultimates wisely.
Let's see, watch Duplicate here. You see how he's playing aggressive, but this is a sign to Goats that he has the shatter, but unfortunately, Tensa's gonna fall to it. The question is, can Duplicate get the pick? He's anti-nated, so he has to back out for the time being. Doesn't want to go down himself, but Tensa finally finished off. Boostio next, and they're hunting for you, Gator. You're their next target in phase 2. When they've got you in their sights, you are as good as dead here. As more DMX Arai, Arai is the next one to fall, and the rest of the Goats just have to back into their spawn.
Yes, and phase 2 still has 4 minutes remaining left on the clock, but with Sid having a Graviton Surge available, Hawk is going to have to be vigilant with that defense matrix.
Of course, he's got to have the eyes of a Hawk here. Unfortunately, not going to be able to block it, but the sound barrier is there to cover for Hawk's perhaps unknowing failure to eat that Graviton. But here comes the bomb over the top, gets Tensa right away. One falls though, 5v5 on both sides. Might be the beginnings here for the phase 2, but we're gonna see if they can continue to fight this. Hawk demech from that bomb from RI. Insomniac, the next one to fall. Duplicate on the outskirts here, wants to keep himself alive, but he needs to think of his supports as well. Has to charge away and unfortunately leave more out to dry, and he's gonna fall. Duplicate himself can't get out of that fight, and Sinker might get staggered here.
Yes, and there is still, though, plenty of time on the side of phase 2. They still have a minute left to make the same time as Goats, but right now that defense is getting really close to that spawn and takes out Wub. They're going to have to wait even longer to reset.
Man, Goats really having a lot of great staggers at the moment. You see Gator hit with an anti-nade there, but it's not going to matter. It's going to wear off by the time that the phase 2 can even think of pushing in. But phase 2, they've got quite a bit of ultimates in this bank. They've got the Rally, the Nano Boost, and the Rally, and the Earth Shatter, as the Rally is invested from Boostio as well. Here comes that Nano Boost onto Duplicate, blocks the Shatter from Gator, and then just charges right into the back line with that Shatter knocked up into the air. But as soon as he hits that ground, he connects, and it's a big one. 2 down, Tensa next. Now Duplicate taking the pick onto Icor as well. Boostio really the last man standing and is going to be forced to fall here. Card continues moving. One more fight from Ghost here. Katrina, what do you think?
No, I don't think so. I think Duplicate really ended that fight there with that Earth Shatter, and Gator is slept by more. I mean, right now, this is such an even Rialto round. It could go to anyone, but more using that anti-nade really allowed phase 2 to be so successful. They have, pretty much identical times going into this next round. So I do believe that the Goats team will be attacking first. So I'm curious to see if they will stick with that triple tank, triple support composition that has been so successful, or will want to change it up. Right now, as we look at the defense, you will see that Goats composition with Ana, more on the Ana. I mean, it did work quite well last time, but both teams might be running a mirror composition once more. And when you do see those compositions, you ultimately do see which team usually has the better foundations and mechanical skill. So there's a lot to prove for both of these sides.
Absolutely, and if anything, there's a lot to prove for the Goats here as well. I mean, last time they went against phase 2, phase 2 really just swept them off their feet, and you know, I think Goats here, they definitely want to prove to phase 2 that they got what it takes to take them down, and so far it's looking good for them. But again, really 3 seconds only in the advantage of phase 2. That's not really anything. So
no.
The time bank just about equal, and we're going to see what the teams can make do with it.
Yes, I'm curious to see if there will be any immediate switches coming in from the offense as they did before. They were playing with that Roadhog a bit earlier. I believe it was Sit on that hero, and I really did enjoy seeing that different composition, but it does look like we will, yes, be sticking with that triple tank, triple support with the Zarya, Diva, and Reinhardt.
All right, Duplicate charges forward, had the bubble for a brief moment in time, so was able to do that, but he's got to back up right away, and he's about half HP here, but he got a whole lot of ultimate charge out of that. Duplicate, though, still very low. He's trying desperately to stay alive. The supports are trying to keep them up, but the question is, are they going to be able to? Duplicate just taking damage at all times. That Ryan definitely a primary target. for Goats comp, or just any comp in general, really, as Duplicate shield completely melted, but a Nano Boost comes out already onto Duplicate. He's close to a Shatter. One more swing, and he's got it. And he's gonna get a big one onto the bridge of Rialto. All the members of Goats knocked down. That's a full strike for him.
Oh my gosh, but that rally was canceled out by Boostio, shield bashing that other Wub on the Brigitte. Massive impact coming in from Boostio at that last second. And yes, Sinker and Sit will both have Graviton Surges available. Duplicate was really controlling the pace of that game in that last fight. And Gator, we know that he likes to be aggressive. Let's see how he combats that.
He's got the Shatter here available. They just need to take down Duplicate shield, but they're caught on a Graviton for the time being, and a bomb over the top. He's going to be able to block it, and here comes that Sound Barrier from the defense, but the Shatter from Gator invested, not going to find anything. Duplicate shield completely gone here from that Diva Bomb. He's got to have it recharged for the time being, but it's still very, very low. And alright, E-Core finding 2 picks already onto the members of Phase 2. Big Anti-Nade comes out for more, but the Shatter is blocked by Gator, and a counter charge is just going to knock Duplicate flat on his back, and he's finished off instantly. Boostio taking a bit of a nap on the front line, but he can afford to do that because the rest of his team really putting on a show here on Rialto.
Yes, and with 40 seconds left, there is still an opportunity for Phase 2 to come in with one last defense, negating any ability for Goats to get this final point. But right now, Insomniac on that Lucio might be the only one able to get to this point, as right now they are nearing the first checkpoint so quickly.
All right, Phase 2, you've got to make a big play here, but how do you do it? You really don't have a whole lot of resources, no ultimates available, whereas Tensa's got the Sound Barrier to keep this team alive and sustain the fight for longer than you can. So Wub needs to build up to this rally really quickly and find value with it, but they're going to be caught in the Graviton Surge. 5 seconds counting down, and Ghost actually finds 2. Another big bomb from Arai, and Ghosts are going to be able to cap this first point, but it's the time bank. It's very, very low for them, Katrina.
Yes, that bomb was exquisite, not only because of it got those 2 kills, but the patience to be able to wait until Duplicate shield was shattered. I mean, there was no way that Phase 2 could have countered that. But right now, Phase 2 only needs to take Goats off of this point, which is a lot easier said than done with this composition that relies so much on sustain and coordination.
Oh, Phase 2 moving right in. What a play by Wub. Knocks Arai into the water. And now this rally, it's looking so good for Phase 2. They need to win this one fight against Goats, and they're already fighting on a 5v6. Insomniac invests the Sound Barrier. Graviton Surge, all the members of Goats caught. Phase 2 looking to clean him up here on the Rialto streets. Boostio down, Gator down, that's that. What a play by Phase 2, really opened up by Wub, knocking Arai into the water.
But still, an extremely respectable amount of space that Goats was able to push that payload. There's a lot of ways for Phase 2 to go, and yes, 2 minutes is a long time, but I'm curious to see if this defense will pull out any more stops. We do often see the Orisa and Widowmaker on defense with this map, but I mean, Rien, I don't think we're fooling anyone. I think we're once again going to see that Goats composition on defense. And yes, it does seem that way with Arai looking to get some even greater self-destructs this round on that Diva. Sit has been excellent with bubble placement on the Zarya. So do you think right now that Phase 2 will use a Goats composition of their own?
You know, I think it's so rather up in the air at the moment. I think they will, just because it's so good on Rialto that you could just charge for it and play aggressive. I mean, you could possibly pick a Pharah here in anticipation of this Goats defense and try to hope that the burst damage is enough. But also, Phase 2, they're a team that's known for running Ghosts. They've run Ghosts non-stop throughout this whole open division pretty much, and they've shown that they can do it well. But what is this? Look at what the Ghosts are doing right now. They're looking for an ambush.
Yes, exactly what the words I was going to say. Right now, we're going to see some of the most brawly Overwatch that you have all seen. Get ready for this, Rien.
All right, the gates are open, and I don't think Phase 2 expected this fight to be this early, but Boostio caught with that anti-nade. He's a prime target, but he's going to back up for the time being. Anti-nade wears off, but Duplicate's so low. Alright, able to finish him off. And Goats, they might have just won this fight with this spawn kit. Gator falls though. That's even bigger. Both Reinhardt's down, but of course, attackers have the spawn advantage, so Duplicate will be back out on the fight faster than Gator is. And really, this fight's just all over the place right now. It's so scattered, but Insomniac boops Boostio, and it's looking like Phase 2 will push this card.
Yes, but they've already killed around 30 seconds. Goats has managed to stall the payload for so long, and it is only now getting started to move. But oh my goodness, look at Phase 2 just finishing off the rest of this team. But there are ultimates online for Phase 2. Right now, we do have Wub with that rally. And look at how forward Gator is pushing with Boostio. There is going to be... Oh, excuse me. Gator is now waiting for the rest of his team. Excuse me. but Sinker does have a Graviton momentarily, able to really negate a lot of this movement.
Nano boost out from both sides. Sit's got it and Duplicate's got it here. When Sit, of course, has this Graviton Surge. Graviton invested, however, by Sinker. He's going to be the first to press that Q button, and Sit goes down before he has the opportunity to use that. Of course, Graviton Surge might have been the tide turner of this fight, but for the time being, Phase 2 wins this.
Yes, and they didn't even need to use all of their ultimates. Duplicate still has that really vital Earth Shatter coming in right now, and as the spawns do come out, oh, there they go. They are coming in hot right now, trying to get that defense away from that payload.
Phase 2, they've driven Goats so far back. Goats has to go up here through this gallery if they want to have any chance of contesting this cart one more time. So Goats really have one fight here. They have to win this. This is their win condition. If they lose this fight, they lose Rialto. They're going to open things up with a rally. Here comes the Graviton Surge. 2 members caught, but the shatter from the backline as well. Huge anti from Icor there, who's still holding on to this nano boost here. The question is, does Goats need it? Bomb over the top, not going to get anything. But, oh my goodness, Gator almost going into the waters of Rialto, but he's trapped. He can't jump back up right now, Katrina. And now he's going to be booped into the waters, and Somniac finds him when he's really in a moment of embarrassment, so to speak. And now 8 seconds left and about 3.15 meters left. 2 picks, now 3. Duplicate falls, but you're looking like Phase 2 have got this really in the bag. Sit has to drop back for the time being. He's trying to get healing, but it's not enough. He can't touch the cart. Hawk is there for the body block, and Phase 2 wins Rialto, bringing this set to a 1-1.
Yes, this was so necessary for Phase 2 to win. They have now broken that lost map streak. They are ready to take that halftime break and come back full force, but here comes a phenomenal Diva bomb from Arai. These have been so on point both games, but the Diva players have been even more impressive to me. Not just for those triple kills, but because they've been able to eat so many Gravitons, so many anti-nades. Just that defense matrix has been dictating the pace of this game so far on both sides.
That sensitivity that Aray's got reminds me of a meerkat. You know, he's just looking around constantly. But of course, since we are done with 2 maps, we're gonna throw it right back over to our desk to break it down. Cookie Bandit, take it away.
Thank you so much, Rian. And wow, guys, I was a little concerned in map 1 with Li Jiang. It seemed like Phase 2 was really struggling, but with Rialto, Kenobi, they came back swinging.
Yeah, I mean, it looked very, dire for them on Li Jiang. I was kind of sweating for my prediction a little bit. I was like, oh, the way Goats looks right now, it's going to be a 3-0. Panda's going to be right. He's going to hold this over my head until we go to Grand Finals and even maybe after that. But holy cow, great play and great composure coming out from Phase 2 in that Rialto map.
And something that I'm really curious about, Panda, actually is can you help me dissect a little bit why Phase 2 was struggling so much in that first map and then was really came back into form as #1 seed in Rialto?
It's just kind of the way that Control plays out here, Cookie. I mean, like the way that Li Jiang Tower in particular, the maps that we ended up seeing, both Gardens and Night Market itself, that when the attacking team becomes now the defensive Holdor opponents that the attacking team have to take it back from, it's just so difficult. I mean, we saw Gators just cycling through Rhine Shatters like quite literally like it was his job. We saw great Zarya play coming out from Sit as well. Boostio's flexibility. The team of Goats, they were just playing like a well-oiled machine and really showing us how good they are on their own 3-3 composition. Ecor with the Discord Orb placements was really fun to see. They were down in heals, but they were not down in spirit, just really winning team fights really convincingly, in my opinion, on Li Jiang.
And it's something interesting too, we saw with Goats, and it's slightly to the point now where Phase 2, we know this team as being the team that, the #1 seed. They like to play Goats a lot, but they're starting to get to the point where they're getting slightly downloaded. We might be at like 50% downloaded, because the really cool thing that I saw from Goats was they brought out a Bastion on Gardens. You never see Bastion there on Control. That's unheard of, but understanding that, this team always likes to play the 3-3. This Bastion's going to be able to sit in the back line, give Gators some space, and just do so much damage to those shields and health bars. Really up, like heads up play coming out from Goats there on Li Jiang.
Well, and Kenobi, speaking of Gator, you had mentioned this right there at the end that it seemed like he went on a little unintentional boat ride. And what exactly happened there?
I think what happened, based on what I was seeing, I think he got Lucio booped. He was nanoed and he was trying to get into the back line, but Lucio booped him, and Lucio didn't boop him far enough to where he was off the point. So he just kind of got caught on a little bit of on the boat there and couldn't jump back up. And then he was out of the fight for a very long time. And those 10, 15 seconds of a nano boosted Reinhardt you wish you could have in that team fight you just didn't have. And then Lucio came back around, finished the job, you know, put him in the drink. And then they were just able to push that through. So a little bit of unlucky play there from Ghost. They could have, you know, a Gator, one of those players, Panda, that we know. You know, if you have a nano boosted Gator in that fight changes completely.
It will absolutely change. You're not wrong in definitely saying so. Where the payload did get stalled out off of Ghost's extra inning and their push itself was very difficult to deal with. I mean, we know Insomniac, he is quite literally insane there on the Lucio. His right clicks next to nil, very top tier, if you will. And with that being said as well, it was go ahead and trying to flip it on the other foot. We were sitting there just discussing with our own selves. These supports of the side of Goats almost don't seem like they know what to do from time to time. Ecor on that Ana was definitely a spectacle to see, but it was putting the rest of the team into overdrive mode. I want them to see, I want to see rather a definitive healer composition to play around to keep Gator alive, whether it is the Discord orb so that way he can hold down forward and just really land in the cleaving damage, or to help him out with a certain amount of burst healing that the Biotic Grenade brings.
What I'm wondering, Panda, what do you think Goats is doing well, and on the flip side, what do you think they're doing poorly, perhaps, that FaZe can exploit?
I like Boostio on the Brigitte. We were sitting here discussing throughout the weekend, and when we started really paying attention to Goats, that Boostio coming in on the team, well, what's he going to play? We know he's got a tremendous hit scan. We know that he's actually really good at a multitude of heroes, but then he comes in and he plays the Brigitte of all things. I believe it was Sept that was playing it previously as well. We even saw Rai back when in his former name of Kalug, also playing it in previous matchups in previous seasons. But when Boostio comes in, he has that team-based mentality. He has the contenders mentality, if you will. He's had really good coaching, obviously, on how to play with a team. He's always side by side with Ecor, whether it was Ana or the Zenyatta, watching out for the flanks. But in those final moments, just getting a little bit too over aggressive, trying to play too close to Gator will make you bite off more than you can chew as a Brigitte.
Right.
Once you get anti, you can't even inspire yourself to keep yourself alive.
Yeah, and you know
And
what's
Kenobi-
interesting also? Oh, sorry about that.
No, go for it. Go for it. I just want to know also for your take on phase two. Same question after this.
Yeah, phase two is interesting because phase two has had a lot of moments where I like what they're bringing out, but sometimes, you know, when they bring out the Doomfist, Wub on Li Jing had a very, very difficult time because of what Boostio was doing. And kind of piggybacking off of Panda's point with Boostio, not only do you have Boostio, who's a very team-centric player, plays a lot alongside Iker, so Iker can't get one shot, but you let Zarya be played by Sid. And Sid, as we know, is one of these players who is just an absolute godlike tracker. And Zarya, one of those heroes where if you're at 100%, like he normally is, and you're tracking as well as he is, you're just going to farm grab. So Sid being on that Zarya is definitely something that's helping Goats in this matchup.
Well, we will see, of course, now if phase two is able to keep this strong form going into map 3. And it is about time for that map. So the analyst desk is going to hand it over to our casters once again to get back into it. Rian and Katrina, it's all you.
All right, after a wonderful, nice vacation in Rialto, you know, beautiful rivers everywhere, we're now going to the desert. It's very hot. Hopefully you've got some AC going, some water, because you got to stay hydrated here on this, I don't know, 100-degree map. I don't know how hot it gets. Probably pretty hot, though.
Yes, it's going to be really difficult for any Reinhardt on this map right now. I know he has some really great voice lines, but I hope we do see something other than Reinhardt coming into an Anubis, hopefully an Orisa. I just want to see a little more variation in these compositions, especially since Anubis, you can be a bit more creative. We do typically do, though, see an Orisa, a Widowmaker, Junkrat, Diva, so on and so forth. But right now, it does look like both teams will indeed be sticking with that triple tank, triple support.
Oh boy.
Goats composition. So there isn't a lot of verticality going on right now. This map does have so many great Widowmaker sightlines. You can play an excellent Pharah, even a Wrecking Ball here. But right now they're going to stick to what we know and what we have grown to love, that Goats composition. And right now we do see the defense coming in from phase 2 with more on to that Ana. So once again, we're going to see more shine, hopefully. Getting those anti-nades has been vital to the success of any phase 2 fight, as they have been playing the Ana more frequently than Goats.
Oh my goodness, these guys. Goats versus Goats. How classic of this current meta, you know, and again, this is Anubis. This is normally something you don't see, maybe on offense, but on defense, this is very uncharacteristic, so I'm interested to see what the phase 2 is gonna have to do this. Oh, Boostio, hold up. He's on this
What?
main.
No, he's teasing us.
Please don't be. Fingers crossed. There we go.
Oh,
Trina.
yes! Yes, we got a Mei going on. I'm sorry, I was really excited there to see something other than that triple tank, triple support. Mei is often thought of as maybe even a half tank to a lot of players, and I think that this is a really exciting new pick going into this map. I might have gotten a little excited there. Excuse your headphones, Rian.
Oh, I definitely understand it. You know, it's like anything is a breath of fresh air, really, in this constant goats versus goats. But Boostio very low in the front line, has to go into his little ice block there. But, you know, keep it cool on this hot day here in Anubis. But the wall is going to split the team of phase 2 up. Gator goes for the charge here onto Duplicate, but now Duplicate split from the team very low, able to get the heals. But look at what the goats have done. They've almost swapped the positions. Now it looks like almost the phase 2 are the attacking team, and the goats are the defending team. And Gator opens up with a nice pick onto Wub here. With that Brigitte down, of course, you lose that Inspire, you lose that Shield Bash, you lose so much utility, and all your resources really, I think at this point, phase 2 just gotta cut their losses and fight for the second point. But they're still trying here. Duplicate gonna invest that Shatter as well as the Nano Boost, but he's just gonna be frozen in his tracks by Boostio. Hawk and Cinder, they'll get 2 on this point. Attackers do have the spawn advantage here. The question is, how long can the defense fight this? Graviton Surge comes out here, but a counter Graviton Surge as well. Insomniac forced to invest that Sound Barrier. This fight's been going on for quite some time, and it's 88.7% on the point. Wub and Sinker get 2. Goats looking like this might be faltering just a little bit here, but the reinforcements are arriving. Goats is there, but not before Boostio goes down, so Goats has to back out for the time being.
That was an extremely long fight there that managed to get 2 ticks on the side of Goats. I do love that Mei pick, not only because, yes, it is something new, but also when Mei goes into that cryostasis, when she goes into her little ice block, that can remove the state of Moore's anti-nade, allowing her to be healed once more. So excellent hero picks, but right now the ultimate advantage is on the side of Goats on the offense, as Ikor will have a Coalescence and Tensa has that Sound Barrier. One of those will probably be used to initiate with.
Oh, they fake going up on the high ground, but Goats then drops right back down and moves on to the point. Boostio dodges that Sound Barrier, or dodges that development Sound Barrier, now invested by Tensa here. Nice charge onto Duplicate here. He's very low and gets taken down, but Gator falls as well. Again, attackers have that spawn advantage, but the question is, can the rest of the phase 2 capitalize on that initial pick? And the answer is, yeah, they will. With a big Graviton anti-nade combination, Goats is wiped off of Anubis once again.
Yes, once again, yes, you said, but right now we do see more having that Nano Boost available, most likely going to go to Duplicate, as it has been predominantly tonight. But I'd be curious if it even goes over to Wub on the Brigitte, who has been relatively successful. Having that extra damage resistance for that Squire of Reinhardt might be absolutely terrifying for that Goats comp to see. But Boostio does have the Blizzard available. That ultimate can really dismantle this defense, excuse me.
Oh, they tried to go for a wall and then a charge combination. It's not going to pan out, though. But Duplicate does fall. Gator falls as well. All these Reinhardts are always the ones that seem to die first. But Wub was Nano Boosted and got frozen, and now takes an ice pick to that face and is going to be sent right back to the spawn. Goats looking good so far. Now here comes that Coalescence aforementioned by Ikor here. He takes down Hawk with it. He's looking for Insomniac and Sinker, but really the last 2 left on the point. Sinker's frozen. He's dead. Insomniac's next. I don't know about that Graviton. I don't know if you needed it, but they'll have 4 minutes and 37 seconds for the next point.
Yes, I think using that Graviton pretty much prevents a steamroll situation for Goats. They will not be able to snowball this point, as there are no ultimates on their side. Gator is the one closest to an Earth Shatter right now, but with Sinker having a Graviton of his own and Insomniac having a Sound Barrier, right now there's going to be some economy pushes going on.
Yeah, Sinker expecting to use this Graviton Surge here right away to try and prevent this push out of the catacombs, send them right back into it, rather. But this time, they're going to be sent back in a coffin. But Gator investing the Shatter, knocks Wub down, but he's still got the rally. Wub dies now, and Hawk demeched. Duplicate has to get this Nano Boost and try to fight this frontline fight, but a freeze in the backline. Insomniac caught. He can't get out, but there's nobody there to get the pick onto him, so Boostio falls, unfortunately. And now, it's looking like phase 2 have got this as a big Shatter from Duplicate. Just knocks everybody right down. And just like that, the phase 2 will hold Anubis B for the time being.
I mean, you know me, Rian, as a Reinhardt main, I love to see those Earth Shatters. Oh, it's so much fun, but so many ultimates were built and used in a very, to be harsh a bit, unproductive push coming in from Team Goats, and Ikor will be switching over to the Ana, seeing more success right now with all of those anti-nades. This is going to be another piece of the puzzle that will disrupt phase 2's defense.
All right, Goats gonna be trying again here through the catacombs. They're undeterred, and We're gonna see if they can rise from the grave this time, or if they'll get stuffed right back in it, much like they were in that last fight. Rai's got this Viva Bomb in his back pocket here. The question is, does he use it? Duplicate falls very early in that fight. Gator invests the shatter. 2 down. There's the Diva Bomb we were waiting for, Katrina. But Hawk has one of his own. Gets the pick on a Gator here, but Rai kills 2. Hawk caught in the catacombs now, and he's demeched. Boostio wants to secure this kill, and I'm assuming we're gonna see that in the kill feed very soon. Sid, however, slept on the front lines. He's gonna be able to stay alive, but he's about half HP. He needs to get the support from his supports. Duplicate gets that nano boost, gets the bubble to try and negate that biotic grenade and allow himself to be healed once more, and that's the key in that fight. That's why the FaZe 2 have won it once more.
And did Goats get that tick? I do not think they did. They did not manage to get that tick right now. So once again, another stellar defense coming in from FaZe 2. I really did feel like that was Goats' opportunity to capitalize on all of that use of ultimates, but right now there are 4 online for the defense, especially the ever-important Earth Shatter and Graviton Surge. Now, Gator and Sit on the other side of Goats, they're only in the 30% towards those ultimates.
Gator has to push in here, but he's so far behind in that ultimate race here. And of course, look at that. How classic. A Graviton Surge and then the Earth Shatter combination as soon as Gator's shield is dropped. That's going to be an easy and quick wipe for FaZe 2.
Yes, and even though Gator did have the benefited 300 extra health from that nano boost, that just fed into FaZe 2's ultimate even more. Insomniac has been holding on to that sound barrier so long. We'll be ready to use that in case Sit charges that Graviton Surge, but it is only at 46%, with Tensa also going to have the sound barrier momentarily.
Absolutely. Insomniac, they're caught with it, but of course he's Lucio. He's very slippery, so he's able to escape into the backline and heal his team at the moment. Gator, he's finally got the shatter. Invests it, but it gets knocked right into the shield of Liquid, and there is that sound barrier we were waiting for. And of course, as usual, Gator always seems to be the one to die first. This fight is no exception. Sid is next, and Goats once more has to back out.
Yes, I typically do love Reinhardt aggression, but right now it is not working out for Gator, or at least his team is not following up enough with him. So with Ikor, once again, going to be able to have that nano boost, he'll probably go on to Gator to allow him to shine.
Absolutely, but you need to watch out for more as well. I assume it's going to be the battle of the glowing Reinhardts here, just brawling at each other on the point. It's going to be a question of who's going to get more support from their team. Is it going to be the Goats or is it going to be FaZe 2? Let's see as Goats is now pushing through on the center. They've given up on trying to push through the catacombs. Duplicate gets that nano boost early on, and again, here comes Gator, but he's anti-nated on that front line. Charges Duplicate and Hawk into that corner. They're caught in that Graviton Surge. Sound barrier invested by Goats. They get that early pick. Duplicate going to be the next one to die here if they can secure this, but he's been kept alive so well by Moore and Insomniac. Moore does fall here, but the question is Goats able to continue to fight this fight? They've got 15 seconds left, and all their members are falling on this point right now. Alright, D-Mac, he's going to be killed here. Gator might be able to touch the point if he charges there in time. You see Boostio creeping around, but 5 seconds left. It's going to be very close, if at all. Using that Brigitte flight technique in order to get on the point and just secure that overtime, but nobody's there. Gator just going to cut his losses and prevent any round 2, or point B rather, capture, but FaZe 2, very, very nice hold on point B and point A, really, Katrina.
Yes, and that is definitely a confidence booster for FaZe 2, who did end up winning the last round of Rialto, but also both teams were running mirror compositions. They were running the exact same comp for that FaZe 2, the point 2 defense and offense. So really showing dominance on the same composition as your enemy gives you the confidence to move on, knowing that you have the technical edge going on right now. You were able to outplay Goats at their own game. Yeah. So they definitely do know where that finish line is. The question is, will they once again run the Goats composition? And will we see Boostio on May for defense? Who knows? But these questions will be answered in the next coming seconds.
Stay tuned for the next episode of FaZe 2 versus Goats. But
featuring Goats.
Yeah. In all seriousness, I'm sure the irony is not lost on anybody that FaZe 2 is beating Goats with Goats. The comp that is named after themselves. They're really beating them with it. And I mean, maybe after this, depending on the result of this match, we might have to rename that Goats composition to the FaZe 2.
Ooh, that might be an unpopular opinion there, Rian, but I will back you up on it as always. But right now, yes, we will see the Goats composition with Ikor on the Ana. So having that anti-nade has proven to be so valuable in these team fights. We have seen a lot of purple on both sides, with both teams being anti-naded most of the time, to be frank.
Yeah.
So if you are able, though, to get that better one, it does signify that that team fight will most likely go your way. And if I am to be correct, the offense will be having, once again, a mirror composition, that Goats variation with Ana, as opposed to the typical Moira we saw at the beginning of this origin of this composition. So once again, I mean, we'll see who outplays each other at the exact same role. I'm going to be watching the Reinhardt battle, though, seeing whose shield breaks first.
All right, now you see phase 2 pushing through, moving through the market, gonna go up top here. And Katrina, it's funny you mentioned how all these anti-nets play a part. It's like that old Eiffel 65 song, but you just replace blue Dabity with purple Dabity, of course. And phase 2, okay, this is an interesting push from them. They drop back and now dropped, and they're trying to fight Goats head on here, charging in. Gator takes a big charge, but he's gonna be able to stay alive. Got the bubble from Sit here. Both teams kind of brawling it out on the front line. Gator slept though, that's big, but Hawk of course demeched. Now no Matrix for the members of the phase 2, so they gotta really play a bit more careful here, backing themselves into a corner, but on purpose. They want to take this high ground.
Yes, that high ground will not only allow them some cover while they are waiting for their diva to be remapped, but also taking this high ground. This is something that you don't often see in a Ghost composition. It's usually very land-based. Being able to drop down point at will give phase 2 that strategic advantage, but Sit is 90% towards that Graviton Surge. Actually has it right now. Sinker does not have his yet.
Goats comp, a comp of the land and air, but unfortunately not the sea like we saw in Rialto. But here, big Graviton Surge, Tensei able to shut it down with that Sound Barrier, and here comes the counter Sound Barrier from Insomniac as his own teammates were caught in that grab. But now Diva Bomb rally used almost in sync here, and a Shatter is going to knock Bustio on his back. Gator's Shatter blocked now by Duplicate, and already 2 ticks on the point for the members of the phase 2. Charge onto Duplicate here. He's very low, but a counter charge right away into Gator. He's gonna win that Ryan duel. All right, gets the bubble, wants to get his mech back, but he's actually gonna be able to get it in the face of Duplicate. You'd think his hammer would smack him down, but no. However, all right, just is not gonna be able to stay in that mech for long. I mean, if I do the quick maths here, that was about $2 billion for the Korean government in terms of mechs.
Yes, was it worth it?
Probably not.
Probably not. But anyways, as we do move forward, Hawk will have that self-destruct available as Diva, and that is the only ultimate online for both teams. But definitely Economy is on the side of phase 2. On attack, you do have Duplicate and more getting extremely close to that Nano and Earth Shatter. This is a snowball potential opportunity. We will see how the defense responds to this self-destruct.
Phase 2 really has to have a miracle hold here, or rather, Goats has to have a miracle hold. Oh my goodness, the Shatter canceled! Duplicate went for it, but he's slept by Ecor the second he even thought about doing a counter Shatter from Gator. Not going to get any value, unfortunately, and he gets caught with an anti-nade. Graviton Surge now for phase 2. 3 members down. All right, able to get back into his mech, but how long can he contest? How long can he stay alive to allow the defense to come back? And he's going to be nano boosted, getting that extra health and more, doing his best to keep his team alive. Graviton Surge eaten up by Hawk there. Now Sound Barrier invested. Gator swapping over to the Hammond, wants to contest the point, stay alive for as long as possible. We know how good Hammond is at doing so, but Bustio caught with that Diva Bomb. Now Duplicate on the point. He's getting this bubble. He's trying to stay alive, do some damage, swing back and forth. He's around 63 to another Shatter. Now 75. He used it at the beginning of the fight, and now he wants to use it at the end, perhaps, of a fight in order to win out this Anubis, as they've already got around halfway to that first tick, and all the picks are on the side of the phase 2 at the moment. Shatter comes out. Bustio caught in it. The tick is there. There we go. They got it. Igor caught. Touch the point. In phase 2, win Anubis. Katrina, we're at a 2-1, moving on to map 4.
Yes, but something tells me we might be going to a map 5. These two teams have been very evenly matched. And yes, although phase 2 did only have to take a single tick during that final attack on Anubis, it was truly Duplicate who was oh, look at that. Look at that Earth Shatter right there in combination with the Graviton Surge. And of course, the ever-present anti-nade. There has been a lot of similar stories going on for the attacks and defense this entire game, as we've been treated to some excellent Ana, Reinhardt, Diva. I mean, the 6 heroes that we've been seeing the entire time tonight, with a couple of Mays in there. So, I mean, I can't complain, right?
Absolutely. You know, at least we're seeing some variation. If it's not much, I'll take whatever. I mean, as fun as it is to watch Goats, it gets a little bit boring after a while. But of course, this is one of the sets that has really kept me on the edge of my seat constantly. These teams are so evenly matched, just really going head to head, or butting heads if we're talking about Goats here.
Yes, we've seen so many Reinhardt collisions this entire match, and I'm here for all of it. As we go into our last map, though, I'm definitely going to be watching once again that Reinhardt v Reinhardt battle, as Gator's aggression has been a main storyline throughout this entire match. Yeah. Whether or not he's been supported or anti-nade by the enemy has often led to his effectiveness in team fights. And Reinhardt is so vital for the survival and sustainability of that GOATS composition. Everything revolves around that shield, and allowing Brigitte to have that defense to stun the enemy Reinhardt. I just want to be able to see Gator be supported more by his teammate. Not that he is not. It's just right now that aggression seems to be what is allowing phase 2 to come up on top.
You know, it's interesting when you have these two teams that play very, very aggressive and they just go back and forth into each other constantly. It's just which team is going to be, you know, is going to be supported more, which tanks are going to get more healing, more resources, and who's going to be able to stay alive. And I feel like that's, if we go back and we watch, a lot of the time, that's what it comes down to, is a bubble at just the right time, or the anti-nade comes in at the perfect moment, or whatever it is. The speed boost is there. The DPS follows up, you know, really no DPS, really just Brigitte, I guess.
Yeah, she counts, right?
Yeah, I guess. She's, you know, half, well, I guess she really fits into all three categories, DPS, tank, and support, but of course, much to the lament of Reddit and other communities, and Blizzard forums too as well. But anyways, we're going to move on to our map 4 very, very shortly, Katrina. And what do you think these teams, you know, what's the key here moving into this map? How does GOATS take this to a map 5?
Out GOATS phase 2. I mean, right now we've just been seeing so much of the same composition against one another, and as we go into King's Row, especially a map that is really made for GOATS to go very well, I think it is going to end up in the hands of Gator on the Reinhardt and Duplicate on the same hero on the other side of phase 2. I'm also looking at the battle between Moore and Ichor. That's been the only real variation we've seen between these compositions tonight, is that Ichor favors that Zenyatta more so than the Ana. So I think that the presence of the anti-nade in combat with that Discord orb from Zenyatta, the effectiveness of both of those abilities will determine who wins these team fights.
Hawk, I want to point out Hawk for a second. He's been doing so well on this D.Va. You know, his name hasn't really appeared in the kill feed much. Hasn't gotten a whole lot of big bombs as we saw in the last game they played against Shu's Money Crew right before this match. But regardless, he's having massive plays, eating gravitons left and right from Sit, really just for breakfast. He's really a bird of prey out here, preying on these gravitons. Any ultimate he can eat, Hawk really will eat it 9 times out of 10. You know, there was that one graviton he missed on Rialto, but that doesn't matter when you compare it to all the other ones he's eaten. Right, exactly.
Yes, and as we do see the defense setting up, Hawk will still remain on that D.Va. We will, of course, have that triple tank, triple support GOATS composition with more remaining on the Ana. So even though on King's Row, we often do see the high ground being taken by an Orisa, it looks like most of the fighting will be taking place in this hotel. So who builds up those ultimates the quickest will determine whether or not GOATS can take point A rapidly, or it might even be one of the longest holds we've seen. We will not know anything until we see who gets that first pick that will determine the rest of this fight.
GOATS versus GOATS, as usual here. Phase 2, of course, on this defense to start. GOATS on the offense. We're going to see which team is going to come out on top here when the smoke clears on King's Row. Point A now. Duplicate and Sinker playing a little bit aggressive here. Want to drive back members of GOATS. What a huge anti-nade that was. More than a bit of a flank. GOATS now has to really get out of there as fast as possible. They can see some space, however, and Alright gets the pick onto Duplicate here with no Reinhardt. There's no main shield, no main, damage mitigation. As you said, Katrina, GOATS Cup revolves around that Reinhardt, so phase 2 really have to wait for Duplicate to get back before they have any chance of contesting the point. But the thing is, they can at the moment here, as 2 ticks, though, however, are given up. So phase 2, really, they're banking everything on the fact that Duplicate will have to get this. He makes it there in the nick of time, and Hawk gets that initial pick onto Icor here, turning this into a 5. Now 4v6 as Boostio is the next to fall. Tensa on the point, playing very aggressive on this Lucio. Just wants to go for a bit of a tactical feed to reset quicker.
Yes, punishing aggression has been a theme of tonight, and that happened to Duplicate after that really excellent anti-nade coming in for more. Phase 2 really wanted to punish their opponents, but in the end, Duplicate was just taken out, and right now, him and Gator still have the same ultimate charge for their Earth Shatter. But here comes that nano boost.
Boy. Duplicate charging right into that front line, leading that, of course. You know, I wish every time Reinhardt charged, there would be like a battle horn that goes off. Think about how much cooler it would be, but I digress. Anyways, Duplicate and Gator now fighting on the point. Duplicate's shield, however, is very low, and he himself is very low. Now sit back to the spawn, and the rest of GOATS, they see that opportunity, and they capitalize it on it instantly, and they cap this point. 4 minutes and 50 seconds for the Streets phase of King's Row.
Speaking of things happening instantly, right now, Goats have 5 ultimates online, only having just used Sit's Graviton Surge. So this is a huge momentum shift coming in for Gifts, Goats, excuse me. But as we do see, Phase 2 does have almost as many ultimates, with Duplicate about to have that Earth Shatter. So it's going to be up to Hawk and to Arai whether or not they're able to eat up any more of those Gravitons, as we have been talking about. And both teams are starting to play a little bit more conservatively, knowing that all of these ultimates are online for one another.
All right, Hawk, I want to see a big Diva Bomb here from you, or one from Arai as well. Really, I just want to see something huge. Here comes that Graviton Surge. Diva Bomb invested from both sides. There's a big opportunity for Hawk. Kicks down Arai, and Duplicate in the backline himself, a little bit over-aggressive there. Like you said, Katrina, maybe not always getting the support of his team because of how aggressive he's playing, but Gator himself pushing into this front line is going to demech Hawk here, and then shortly just bat him right down to the spawn. So Ghost will continue to push this cart.
Yes, and that was quite the fireworks show coming in from both Divas, all of those self-destructs. But right now, Goats, yes, they still do have 5 men on cart, and Ichor has a Transcendence to be able to negate as much damage as possible. Right now, Sit will probably be looking for that early pick on Moore so that that Transcendence may still be effective. No anti-nade means that Ichor can use that to his free will.
All right, let's see here. Sit already close to another Graviton Surge. He used it in the last fight, and now already at 80%, whereas Sinker is at 47% on his here. You see the Nanoboost comes out onto Duplicate. What a shatter block that was! Igor forced to now use his Transcendence to support his team on this front line. They were really banking on that Earth Shatter, and you can see it, but however, they're going to be able to get the pick onto Duplicate without it. However, trading back and forth here, 4v5, now 3v3 on 4 on this front line as Insomniac gets the pick at Ichor here. Hawk demech, however, and shortly killed. More gonna be the next one, but look at Insomniac here. He's just dancing around the payload, doesn't want to give up without a fight.
Oh, that reminds me of your Lucio, Rian, just being absolutely annoying to play against. But anyways, I digress. Arai does have that Diva ult available, that self-destruct that we have seen really great impact coming from. And Sinker has a massive advantage coming into Graviton Surge charge with 95% compared to Sit's 44.
Now 97 and shortly to be 100%. Wants to drive back Arai, even maybe demech him here before he wants to use this Graviton Surge. There was no chance whatsoever of having it eat. See, watch Sinker's positioning here, but a shatter comes out. Sinker's knocked down. What a boop! You see it, got Duplicate. Sinker almost fell into the pit himself, but he's going to be able to stay alive and get off that Graviton Surge. Bomb from Hawk comes out, kills Sit, but now rallies from both sides on the front line. Getter going to be taking a bit of a nap here for the time being. Nanoboost comes out onto Sinker here. The question is, can he get this damage? He does. He really only has 0 energy to work with, so not a whole lot of damage or value coming out of that Nanoboost. However, in the back line, Boostio goes down to Wub here. He had the support of, his fellow teammates, so he was able to get that pick and win that 1v1, and goes push back for now.
Yes, and Insomniac does have that sound barrier for the next fight with Duplicate's Earth Shatter that is now fully charged. Gator probably does know this and will be trying to play those Reinhardt mind games, which here comes the shatter!
Oh! What a shatter that was, and an anti-nade as well. All of these shatters have always registered on the Richter scale time and time again, Katrina.
Yes, brilliant shatter there, and going right underneath the payload. Reinhardt is, oh my gosh, one of the most impactful characters in the game when played phenomenally well, and Duplicate and Gator have both been putting on quite the show for us. But right now, Goats does have the ultimate advantage going into the next fight, especially looking at Sit and Arai's tank ultimates of Self-Destruct and Graviton Surge.
All right, Hawk, it's all up to you. Can you eat up this Graviton once more? Unfortunately, not this time. There's the Diva Bomb we were waiting for, Katrina. It's a big one. Arai gets 3.5 as Arai is demeched as well, and then gets Hawk. Arai really going off at that time.
Yes, that is the play of the match right there.
That's what we were waiting for.
We were waiting for that all night, and even though that kill did come in, there will still be time for Phase 2 to contest one last time, but the ultimates are... they do have a Graviton Surge, but there's not much on their side.
All right, let's see. What can you do with this Sinker? Oh, Wub almost got that canceled, but he was able to stay alive. Here comes the Graviton Surge. G-Bomb as well. Gator, no! Not able to block it. The Reinhardt charge came in at the last second from Duplicate and allowed Hawk's bomb to get 2 members of the Ghosts and win this fight.
Hawk just responding with a great Diva Bomb of his own. Arai and Hawk have been eyeing each other this entire time, and outstanding performances coming from both. The only ultimate online for both teams is Boostio having that rally all of that extra armor will be so impactful, as right now the defense have such a closer spawn to the payload. They need all the survivability they can.
Duplicate very closer to a shatter. He's got it now. And another combination of that shield bash right into that earth shatter. The question is, can they follow up? And the answer is going to be no. The sound barrier came out, and Ghost is able to stay alive for the time being. Wub separated from his team on the front line, goes down. Shatter comes out. Hawk caught in it right in the middle. D-Mac now finished off. Sinker next. Ghosts, they've got this payload as long as they can clean up the rest of the members of Phase 2, which they do very handily. 60 seconds left on the clock for them, however.
Yes, that was still an incredible defense coming in from Phase 2, but I would like to point out how I feel like every team fight is won by the Earth Shatter in this matchup.
Yeah.
These two Reinhardts have been at it this entire time with such vigor, such energy, and Gator having that Earth Shatter at the very end just sealed everything up for Goats. Yes, we have been talking about his aggression, but that allows him to build even more ultimate charge quickly if he does survive. So Duplicate and Gator, a lot of those shatters have not really been blocked though. So they're going to want to be playing those mind games even more, trying to make sure that they can negate the power of that incredible ultimate.
The few shatters that have been blocked, I've noticed, are usually when both of them have a shatter and they're playing very aggressive. So the Reinhardts, they understand the body language and they know that the other Reinhardt's looking for a shatter. And oftentimes when one Reinhardt has a shatter and the other one doesn't, neither of them really play too differently, because again, they're such aggressive players to begin with that really their indication that they're going for a shatter is not really that apparent if you're either of these teams and you don't have another shatter up. But when they do know that both Reinhardts have an earth shatter, then they understand that, and most of the time it is blocked.
Yes, that is a true difference in those two occurrences. But let's take a look at the defense. It is once again triple tank, triple support with Icar on the Zenyatta. Icar has been very effective with those transcendences. They've been waiting for more to use that anti-nade or to kill more first before popping that off, and ultimately has given all of the healing necessary for Gator and Sit to shine on those heroes. But Arai as the diva I think has been the unsung hero of tonight. Yes, we are talking a lot about Gator, and Arai has all of these phenomenal diva bombs that have displaced the rest of Phase 2. Let's see if more on the Ana will be able to sleep any of these tanks before they can do too much damage.
Arai there on top of the statue, getting a little bit of scouting done before the match. As you see, Phase 2, they're going to check right in on through this hotel, but they're going to move right out. Apparently, it is not a 5-star hotel. And there were some bed bugs there or something. I don't really know, but they're on the point right now, and they've already driven Goats back through this archway. Really great aggression coming out from Phase 2 to drive Goats back, but now Goats looking for this re-engage. They want to push in very shortly here. Sid able to touch the point with his bubble. Wants to get some charge here. He's at 60 now, but he's very low and might be finished off before he gets the opportunity to stay alive. However, Gator bats Duplicate down on the front line. Wub is his next target, but he's going to be able to shield bash his way out of danger. He's, however, very low. Goats holds for the time being, Katrina, but one tick already given up.
Yes, and Duplicate was creating so much space until his death. There is so much positional advantage on Phase 2's side, and that single kill, though, did mean that this entire triple tank, triple support composition coming in from Phase 2 would be shut down. But in terms of ultimates, Sinker and Sit are very close, both of them, to those Graviton Surges. Wait for those to be charged in this next upcoming team fight.
Sinker's gonna have his first, but oh, actually, Sit might have just beaten him here. As I say this, is really a race to the finish here for both Zaryas. Who can get their Graviton up first? It's gonna be Sit here for the time being, but Goats, again, driving the members of the Phase 2 back. This is a bit of a vice versa situation that we saw in the very first fight, whereas the Phase 2 that drove Goats back, now the Goats are driving Phase 2 back.
And that was due to that early pick onto Moore. Without that Ana healing, it can be very difficult for you to maintain the health of a Reinhardt such as Duplicate, especially when you do have other heavy tanks like Hawk and Sinker on the Diva and the Zarya, but that armor coming in will help a lot for survivability.
Sit is gonna flank. Oh, pops it on the inside of the hotel, and it goes through. Oh, and catches the members of the Goats, or the Phase 2 on the outside, so there's no chance of it being eaten up by Hawk. What a play by him. However, no picks able to be secured off of that bomb right there, right in the center of Duplicate's shield. It cleaves it right down the middle and gets 2 picks. All right, then finds the third with Insomniac falling. Goats once more holds this point.
I just want to commend Moore for that great awareness. Without that anti-nade, that push would not have lasted as long as it did. But phenomenal shatter coming in from Gator, who already has another one. So right now, Duplicate is going to be a bit on edge, having just lost that ultimate ability. Right now, there's not a lot of time left for economy pushes with 1 minute 30 seconds left on the clock.
It's really do or die for the phase 2. As a shatter comes out, Hawk is caught, but nobody on Goats can really take advantage of that. Duplicate falls on the front line there, and Wub is next. Gator very low. You see, that's part of that aggression, but he backs off for the time being here. Hawk on the point on this Baby Diva. It's going to be a brutal stagger onto him.
Yes, and we have seen the Reinhardts falling first in almost every fight, but that's a bit strange, as we typically do see teams trying to go for the supports. But given that we do have such a tanky meta right now with the triple tank, triple support, a lot of the damage will go to that front line of Reinhardt first, especially with that stun ability coming in from Boostio and Wub, who both have rallies. So once again, that armor is going to bring even more survivability to these two teams.
Absolutely, and now another Graviton Surge on the inside of that hotel. Sit really putting on a show here. It's so creative of him to be able to use that. Duplicate, though, gets that nano boost, and he's going to be able to stay alive. Shatter, unfortunately, goes to waste. All the members of the phase 2, once again, pushing through the hotel, and now Ghost caught in this Graviton Surge. Icor is there with this Transcendence, but an anti-nade comes out, and a D-bomb as well. However, nobody dies. Now Gator and Sit fall as soon as that Transcendence wears off. Icor in a bad position here. Might get staggered.
Yes, and right now it's definitely phase 2's point for the taking, but there are only 12 seconds remaining before, of course, the additional time comes in. That was a phenomenal hold coming in from Goats, and I do not think that we will see any compositional changes, as Icor will decide to stay with the Zenyatta that has been serving him very well. Right now, the offense is going extremely aggressive, scoping out the defense, seeing if there are any changes, and now are going back to the payload. Duplicate does have that Earth Shatter, and Gator is only at 30% towards his. So once again, as you were talking about, watch for the Earth Shatter to make this difference here in this next fight.
You know, with Duplicate, we've seen time and time again hit massive shatters, and this one, oh, it is going to be an exception there. Wub tried to shield bash Gator's shield, but it was up right in the nick of time, and Boostio with 2 quick kills drives back the members of the phase 2. Look at that, Boostio just using that the Brigitte flight technique where you shield bash and use your whip shot at the same time. Gives you a lot more momentum, and he's able to secure that pick onto more.
Yeah, big brain plays coming in from Lucio and Boostio, excuse me. But right now there is a natural chokehold that Goats will be able to hold with a lot of stability. Boostio is using that shield to get some third-person perspective, being able to see which way the enemy team of phase 2 is coming.
Look at Sinker here. Look at his positioning. He's kind of on a flank in the back line. He's going to be able to land this huge Graviton Surge because of where RI is. He's never going to see this one coming. He's creeping in. It's going to be a full 6-man. It's caught all the members of the Goats in there. There's the Transcendence trying to keep it alive, but Soundberry invested now by the members of the phase 2. Nano Boost as well. Big anti-nade on that front line, turning all the members of the Goats purple. It's probably not very healthy for them whatsoever, but Duplicate caught in this bar here. He's going to go down from Boostio once more. We've seen this time and time again.
Oh!
Brigitte will kill that Ryan. Another big Earth Shatter there from Gator. Didn't even hear that voice line. I'm not sure what happened to it. Lost in the ether, perhaps, but that is why the Goats were able to win that fight. Another huge shatter from Gator.
Yes, and they're just bullying Hawk so much right now. I hate to see it, but that's going to stagger phase 2
Rod Hawk.
even more. And more is switching from the Ana to the Zenyatta, interestingly enough. So right now we do, in fact, have mirror compositions. I'm a little bit shocked to see that switch from the Ana, but that Discord Orb will likely try to make Gator's high health go down for phase 2, allowing them to get that early pick.
All right, possibly the last fight here. It will be the last fight for the phase 2. This is their last opportunity to cap this point and win this team fight. Diva Bomb early. Hawk secures the kill onto RI, but is going to use the Diva Bomb himself. Gator falls as well. Phase 2 looking good. Now they just need to collapse onto the rest of the Goats and finish them off. And they're going to be able to do so.
Yes, and right now, though, all that has to happen is that Goats needs to take phase 2 off of this point, and there is a lot of space between phase 2 and this final checkpoint. The only ultimate they currently have is Duplicate's Earth Shatter, but they have a ton coming online soon. Insomniac, Wub, and Sinker with a Graviton, Sound Barrier, and that armor from Rally will make it difficult to get these players off of the payload, but Sit, having that Graviton might be the thing prescribed.
Duplicate opens up big with that shatter. What a statement to make at the very beginning of the fight. However, Ecor gonna be the question mark at that to try and shut down that Earth Shatter, and it's gonna work now. Soundbearer invested as well from Tensa here. Another shatter from Gator. Soundbearer as well from Insomniac, charging onto the front line. 5v5, both Ryans down as usual. Katrina. Hawk going for a bomb here. Tensa able to avoid it, but no, he's not actually caught in the exact position where you could have died from that. And outright DMEC on the front line as well. Sid is trying to support him and keep him alive, but again, OT's ticking down on the point. If I'm phase 2, I can't can't give up this fight, and it looks like they're going to be able to take it and continue to move into the factory phase. But again, Katrina, they're already at a disadvantage because of this time.
Yes, they only have a minute and 20 seconds approximately left. And right now, Goats has already finished the map, albeit yet less than a minute. But right now with Iker having that Transcendence and Moore still not having that charge as he has used that in the last team fight, gives Goats so much more of an advantage. Sit will need to use this Graviton Surge before Sinker charges his.
Sit, look at him, he's flanking as usual, and that's another big one. Moore forced to use his Transcendence. Diva Bomb comes out, unfortunately, to no avail. And here is again a counter Graviton Surge from Sinker, again shut down by the Transcendence. Both teams trading back and forth. Hawk! Kaka! Another big bomb for him. 2 down. And it's looking so good for the members of the Phase 2, but Moore falls. Sinker, however, gets that counter pick on a Gator. And now, the members of the Phase 2 just need to clean up. Boostio falls. Ecor has to get the heck out of dodge before he gets taken down himself.
Yes, and finally the payload is clear with 36 seconds remaining right now, and Goats needs to regroup before attacking. They still have plenty of time to coordinate one last defense, but they have no ultimates on their side with Insomniac and Duplicate on Phase 2, having that Sound Barrier and Earth Shatter still.
All right, let's see what's going to happen here. 20 seconds remaining. Again, the last fight for Phase 2. They've got to win this one, but an early Earth Shatter from Duplicate knocks Gator and Tensa down. 2 picks down already, but again, the defense does have this spawn advantage. All right, D-Mech, so many resources lost from Goats. They can't fight this fight. Nobody's able to touch. In the Phase 2, get it, but with barely any time.
And importantly, though, that wasn't into overtime. So right now, Phase 2 will have another opportunity to take these points. So they will have a minute of time remaining to Goats' minute 50, which honestly isn't really too much of a difference. Maybe 1 or 2 team fights, but with the Goats composition, both teams will be able to charge their ultimates rather quickly if their sustain is as solid as it has been throughout this game.
Katrina, really, this is do or die time for Phase 2. They've got to set a precedent, and then Goats will have to match it as soon as they swap sides. So if I'm Phase 2 here, I want to get that payload as far as I possibly can and hope for the best.
That's all you can do in this situation right now, as especially since they are not going to try to necessarily pick heroes that will counter the Goats defense coming in from, of course, Team Goats. Right now, they just need to absolutely outplay their enemies, as we will once again be seeing a mirror composition if Moore sticks onto the Zenyatta as opposed to the Ana. I'm not sure if I do like this pick for the Zenyatta as opposed to the Ana. You do want to have not only a variety in characters, but we do have a pause, so we have a little bit of time to discuss whether or not the merit of... Oh, pause is gone, and pause.
All right. Apparently, I don't know what's happening, but apparently something is. Now we've got the pause here.
There we go, there we go. But
right.
Right now, though, do you think that a Zenyatta or an Ana would be more beneficial to this attack?
I really think it's going to come down to... Okay, well, Zenyatta, he has the Discord, right? But Ana has that anti-nade, and I think the anti-nade is just a little bit more valuable in this current meta.
And also, without the Ana, they will not be able to counter Ikor's Transcendences, which have been so on point. But with only 1 or 2 team fights available for Phase 2 to take any percentage, it's going to come down to the earliest picks, and that Discord orb can help melt down the enemy.
Right. More importantly here, watch Ecor's positioning. He's playing very far back. Doesn't want to be a good target for Phase 2. As Goats concedes that early percentage on the point, and Gator falling right away. Absolutely no way that the Goats can win this fight. It's really looking like Phase 2 is going to be able to cap it and start moving that payload, which is exactly what you need in this scenario.
Yes, I agree. And right now, even though Duplicate's barrier has been destroyed and Tensa is teasing the point with that Lucio, right now Moore's Transcendence will signify that this fight is over. And with 17 seconds remaining, that's still a very quick take for point A. There is a chance for Phase 2 to be able to hold point A for that long if Goats is unable to take it in the same amount of time. And right now, the fight for the payload begins.
Yeah, again, one fight is all the Goats need to dismantle this attack coming out from Phase 2, to dethrone them perhaps on King's Row. But Goats waiting around the corner for the time being. Graviton Surge opened up. Sinker comes right out of the bar with that one, grabbing a quick cold one with the boys before popping that grab on the front line. However, Ecor again counteracting that with a Transcendence of his own. On the front line here, Goats! What a grab! That was Sit! My goodness! He really told Phase 2 there to sit down because he wiped him off the face of this planet.
And right now, all that Goats needed to do was just take them off of the payload. But I mean, what's a better way to do that than a team kill right there? And Goats now will have a bit of momentum, a little bit of confidence to go in and try to take point A in similar fashion as phase 2, but hopefully for them, move the payload even further. Do you think they'll be able to do it, Rian?
It's gonna be tough. We've seen great Goats pushes in the past on this offense to quickly take point A, and the question is, can they be consistent with it? Can they make it work when it counts, which is now?
Yes, I completely agree, and I think Gator's aggression, will play an advantage to them. Being able to get an early pick, hopefully for them onto Duplicate, getting that first kill, will dismantle the entire defense, losing that Reinhardt, losing the center of the triple tank, triple support composition. As we have 30 seconds before this fight ensues, right now, all the cards are on the table. These teams want to ensure their victory, and it is in Goat's hands currently. They have 1 minute and 50 seconds, 50 seconds more than phase 2 did have.
If the cards are on the table, then let's hope for a royal straight flush, because that's what Goats needs at this moment to cap this point flawlessly and cleanly, because they, again, do not have a whole lot of time to make this one work. And here we go. The gates are open. Out comes the Goats. It's like horse racing, I suppose, but instead we've got Goats on the front line, which, you know, could be a sport someday. You never know how
there's Goat Yoga.
Yeah, there you go, Goat Yoga. That'll be what this is called, but maybe a little less calm. And now both teams on the point, just gonna brawl in back and forth here. Nobody really has gotten a pick yet. No real damage has been done to either side, as Goats has 1 tick already on the point. Gonna be 2, I presume, before the phase 2 want to start counteracting this, but Duplicate is already very low on this front line. The supports are doing their best to keep him alive, but Goats knows this, and they capitalize on that and take him down. And with Duplicate gone, there's no shields in that front line. Moore got that transcended so quickly in this fight. Less than that was like a 47-second transcendence, and it's going to be keeping the members of the phase 2 alive. Ghost backs out for the time being, but another quick graviton surge from Sept here catches 2 members. They can't capitalize and get the picks. All right, Remix on the outside here. Rally comes out from Wub. Lots of ultimates being built up and used in this fight. Gator with a shatter, not going to find anything. Duplicate close to one of his own, but you got to watch out for Sinker here. He's got a graviton, and he's creeping through the hotel. He's coming in the back line as usual. 3 members caught. Bomb over the top. Hawk, can you make it work? He gets Tensa. And phase 2 drive back the Goats, but 30 seconds left and 2 ticks already.
Yes, and right now Boostio will have that armor for the team, but his ultimates are looking a little bit stiff for phase 2. Right now they only do have Duplicate having that Earth Shatter, and I'm not sure right now if Gator will be able to block it or not. They do have 2 ticks on the side of the Goats composition, and right now Sit is starting to contest once more.
Sid is so close to this Graviton Surge, and this can be a fight ender, a fight winner, as long as RI can follow up with this bomb. Reinhardt, of course, Duplicate taken down, but there's a shatter. It comes out. Boostio caught in the backline. Bomb as well. Not going to get anything. Sid takes Duplicate down. He's still holding on to this Graviton Surge here. He might be looking for a good opportunity or waiting until that Transcendence is gone. This is his time to shine, but he might not even need it, as the members of phase 2 are going on to the point one by one. The Ants go marching in, and the Ants just get squashed by the Goats. OT once more, Katrina, but Goats will have ultimates to make it work.
Yes, they not only do they have ultimates, but that time, that overtime will definitely be ticking down very quickly. All that phase 2 needs to do is to get the Goats composition off the point, and the ultimate you really do need to watch is Sinker having that Graviton Surge. Sit already does have his available, but if Sinker is able to charge that up close enough, that is the ultimate that can really displace the entire team away from that payload. But they're getting really close to that final checkpoint.
Watch Sid here. He's in the bar. He's waiting again. Another Graviton Surge through the wall. Catches all the members of the phase 2. And more falls already. Shatter invested by Gator. Not going to get anything this time. But a Diva Bomb on the point from Hawk. Not going to pan out. Unfortunately, in the end, does DMEC RI. But that's all the value they're going to get out of that. E-Core Transcend is able to stay alive. Here's the Graviton Surge, though. Gator finds Wub and Hawk out of his mech now. No Matrix whatsoever. And Hawk is most valuable when he is in that mech. E-Core cleans up. And that's that. Kings Row, Goats take the crown, and we're moving, Katrina, if I'm not mistaken, to a map 5.
I am so excited to see what these teams can do to one another. It is, of course, the battle of triple tank, triple support, and Arai has been a standout tonight on that Diva, getting so many high-value ultimates, and as we have been seeing already, you love to see it. Quadruple kill, but even though Hawk we have known him for having phenomenal self-destructs, I have to say, Arai has been entertaining us the most tonight with those.
Yeah, Arai definitely been doing such a good job of just finding value with every single one of those bombs, time and time again. You know, whether his team following up on it perfectly or if he, you know, being just getting the right angles. That's what it comes down to a lot of the time, is just getting the perfect possible angle. You see it, you got all the equations going on in front of your head, quick maths, and then bada boom, you got yourself a full team wipe. And Katrina, last map, Nepal, we're starting on Sanctum. What do we expect?
Oh my gosh. I mean, how can you expect anything other than triple tank and triple support coming from these players? I would really hope to see maybe an Orisa coming in, allowing that halt ability to get some players into that giant pit of death as we have seen on Nepal. Frankly, Nepal is my favorite map in this game, so I couldn't be happier. But a lot of that reason why it is my favorite is you do tend to see some more variety in compositions based on the map. But right now it does seem like, once again, Tensa and Insomniac might be the only ones getting environmental kills on the Lucios for this portion of Nepal, Sanctum.
All right, a reminder, this is map 5. This is what it all comes down to. Who are going to be the champions on the Goats' natural habitat, the mountainside, Katrina? Is it going to be the Goats themselves, or is it going to be Phase 2? We'll find out as soon as the gates are open.
It's going to depend on who is able to get this first pick. And once again, we do have mirror compositions. Moore and Ekgor will be both on the Zenyatta. That Discord Orb is going to be vital to put onto Duplicate and Gator, as they have been so aggressive. That early pick will determine who gets first control percentage, which often determines greater ultimate economy.
All right, it's going to all come down to the environmentals. Who is going to be the Alpha Lucio, the Alpha Frog on this Nepal Sanctum? And Insomniac looking for that boop. Not going to find it this time, but maybe next time, as Gator falls very early in this fight. Hawk D-Mech by his own, though. Tensa almost falls into the pit. Does boop Sinker. Now Goats just need to get the rest of the picks here. They're moving in. They've bottled up the members of the Phase 2 in this side room. Not a good place to be whatsoever, especially if you are Wub. You're feeling very claustrophobic, almost like you're in a coffin, which you are. The Goats has locked you in, and that's exactly where you don't want to be. All right, falls off the edge there to get his mech back, but Goats caps the first point.
But look at this right now. Sid has a Graviton Surge. Sinker is only at 42%. This ultimate economy is going to be so vital. Even though Duplicate, yes, is winning that Reinhardt battle in terms of ultimate percentages, Sid has that great Graviton Surge that can even suck the entire team off of the map.
Sid's been so creative with these Graviton Surges. You see it right there, a flank through the side room and then just get it. No opportunity for it to be eaten up by Hawk, no matter how vigilant he is. And that's going to be an early team fight win for them.
Yeah, that was a complete wipe there, and Sinker is now only at 60% as that Zarya fell so quickly, and because only one ultimate was used there. Arai, Iker, Tensa, Gator, there are 2 supports and 2 tanks, all with ultimates, some defensive, some aggressive. Right now, Goats is in a very good position to maybe even hold Sanctum 100-0.
The winner of this match will go on to face Shoes Money Crew, who won against Phase 2. So will Phase 2 get the rematch, or will Goats face off against them? We'll have to wait and see. But it's looking like Goats has got a good opportunity so far. They've got a good rhythm going. Now they just need to keep this dance going as a bomb over the top. Doesn't find anything this time, but it does split up the team of Phase 2. And Goats takes advantage of that and sweeps the floor with them once again.
Yes, and Sid is just watching everyone fall into that pit, and with 70% on board for the Goats composition, and Iker is still holding on to that Transcendence. No changes are being made on the side of Phase 2, but Sinker now finally does have that ultimate of Graviton Surge. There are 4 ultimates, in fact, online for Phase 2. This is their opportunity to truly change the tide of Sanctum, as there is 90% almost on board.
They gotta do it, and they gotta do it now. Katrina, what can they find with these ultimates? Let's see. We're gonna be watching Sinker here, but again, Earth Shatter opens things up for that Graviton Surge. See the Transcendence there for the coverage. Hawk's Bomb, Gator down, but a counter Graviton Surge right away. You bottled up the Phase 2. They're caught right where you want them if you are these Goats. And Boostio just holding that left click, swinging back and forth. A real champion, very high octane Vegeta gameplay. 100-0 goes Sanctum to the Goats. We're moving to the map 2, and Katrina, if Goats wins this one, they move on. So Phase 2, this is crunch time for them. They've got to win this.
Yes, and right now, I'm sure both teams are hoping for Village to be this next map, as this has so many opportunities for Goats to shine, and it indeed will be. This map is going to be so brawly. There are so many opportunities for Reinhardt to charge right into the walls of that control point, and there isn't that environmental fear that Insomniac and Tensa were putting into the rest of their opponents. So right now, Moore is thinking about playing this Ana. So I am very excited to see who will win the Battle of the Heroes. Will Icar on the Zenyatta or Moore on the Ana? I think that anti-nade will provide a huge impact on all of the team Goats. But Icar might have that important Discord orb on Duplicate that leads to the first kill that dismantles phase 2.
Katrina, how poetic is it that what could possibly be the last map is the map that perhaps Goats is best on, as we see Goats themselves playing against a team that has supposedly mastered their composition. Let's see what they're doing. Wub opens up with a pick on a Gator. It's looking good. 5 members only for the Goats here. And without that Rhino, again, as you mentioned time and time again, Goats revolves around that Reinhardt. And without this Reinhardt, Goats, they can't push in and they can't cap this point. So it's going to go to phase 2. RID mech at the end of that fight even.
Yes, and the first take does go to phase 2, but Goats are still excited to get on that point, and right now they do have a lot of ultimates online soon with Sit and Sinker both going to have Gravitons. I think we're going to see those come out in conjunction once more.
Graviton invested, so is the Nananos. Here comes that Graviton surge from Sinker, catches Gator. Ecor with the Transcendence to cover things up. Sit takes down Insomniac here. Duplicate does charge Sit down. Gator finds Sinker on this point, brawling back and forth. Shatter from Gator, they're canceled by Wubs, Brigitte. Again, phase 2 still holding on this point. Another combination of that shield bash and the shatter. We've seen it time and time again, executed to perfection, and it's gonna come again for the phase 2 to win this fight out. RID mech once more. It's gonna be staggered at the end of this fight.
Yes, and Insomniac does have that sound barrier to rely on. That is the only ultimate online for phase 2, whereas Boostio will be giving his team extra armor with Rally, and Arai has been giving us quite the show tonight with all of those self-destructs. This map might be a little bit difficult for one to have as many kills as possible, but we have seen some crazy ones in the past, and Insomniac gets the early kill onto Icar.
That's huge. Without this Zenyatta, there's no Discord orb and no healing as well, and he can't build up towards that Transcendence, and allows, you know, Sinker here to get ahead of the race and build up his Graviton so that when it does come out, Ecor won't have a Trance to counter it.
Yes, and Sinker has a way to catch up because Sit is already at 60% towards that Graviton, but Moore will have that nano boost, most likely going on to Duplicate.
Rally invested from Boostio, wants to give his team a little bit of armor, a little bit of resources before they move in here. Duplicate gets the nano boost, he's pushing it on the front line, about half HP, needs to stay alive like the old BG song. Is going to be able to get the support from that sound barrier, put in their shatter, invested on the point, 2-3 members down. Hawk there for the peel, preventing Boostio from securing the kills, and Boostio finished off now by Insomniac, but with Duplicate gone, they have to have the rest of the tanks here come in clutch, and the Graviton surge on that front line is going to make things work there. Very nice from Sinker to hold on. 99, a nice flip at the very end there from Goats, but it's not going to matter because phase 2 have got it, and there's no chance for any of the members of Ghost to touch. So Katrina, map 5, round 3, are you ready?
I am so ready right now, Rian, and we will be heading over to one of the most impressive portions of Nepal. The last time we casted this match, the end of the match actually ended up with people just not being able to stand on point, so I hope we will not have that C9 occur once more. But these two teams have really been so even, and just the fact that we've gone to map 5 on this third point attests to that completely.
Katrina, this is what it all comes down to. I know I've said that many times,
but it's true.
But this right here, this is the one that for real is what it all comes down to. These teams have to step up big. They have to be playing at their best possible potential to really show us why they deserve to go up against Choose Money Crew next.
And right now, as we do look at the compositions, once again, yes, of course, we will be seeing triple support, triple tank, but Moore and Icar will be on the Ana and Zenyatta respectively. Both have benefited each team, as we have seen in the rounds, but I gotta go with the side with the Ana usually. I think she is such a strong healer right now and will be able to negate Icar's Transcendence if that anti-nade is used properly.
That's what it is going to come down to, Katrina. That is the answer to the equation. And you see Gator caught with that anti-nade right away and quickly finished off phase 2 with that initial cap.
Yes, and Moore is already 57% towards that nano boost. Such an incredibly well-used ultimate, always onto Duplicate, it seems. But Sit and Sinker are almost neck and neck when it comes to their charge. Look at how highly charged those Zaryas are. They are just trying to bait out each other. making sure that they have a good idea of where those ultimates are sitting. But right now, ultimates, of course, are in the better hand of the team that has the point, as we usually do see on Control.
The goats, they're going to push through on the shrine side. Elephant didn't work last time because of how open it is, but when you push through the shrine side, of course, you have that ceiling above you, and of course, we know Reinhardt's shield thrives in those scenarios here. Duplicate gets this nano boost very early on in the fight. And again, phase 2 is just building up control percentage as this fight plays out. But Graviton Surge, that's a big one. However, the Soundberry may have just shut it down there from Insomniac. A counter Graviton Surge now, but Igor's Transcendence is there. There's that anti-ninja we're talking about, Katrina, but it doesn't look like they're able to secure picks here. Tensa falls. Gator, I take my words back, Katrina. That anti-nade was how the phase 2 won that.
But not only that, Wub was able to get a stun onto Gator as he was using that Earth Shatter in the middle of that Earth Shatter. Really great awareness coming in from Wub, who will have Rally to top off his team with all of that armor, making it even more difficult for Goats to win this. Now there's 70% in favor of phase 2, and Icar is kind of seeing how well this Ana is working and will now switch over, but More already is at 73% charge for that nano boost.
It's so rough when you're making these late composition switches because of the ultimate bank that is already built up. And Boostio gets the first pick here onto Wub. Gator slept on the front line. All right, DMAC, bomb inside. Gator sleeping, taking a nap. He's not going to get the opportunity to block that. And unfortunately, the Goats are stuffed out once more. Katrina, this is the last possible fight. Will phase 2 beat Goats at their own game, at their own competition? It's all going to come down to this. Boostio falls, Sith's gone. It's all up to Tensa. How long can he contest? Not very long. Gator, he's trying to touch.
Come on.
It's not gonna work. Phase 2, they win it, Katrina. They beat Goats. It's no longer the Goats composition. It's the phase 2's composition. They beat Goats at the comp that they pioneered, showing why they deserve to move to the grand finals, going up against Shoes Money Crew.
What a comeback story from phase 2. After losing, I believe it was 4 maps in a row, they really changed things up this map, stuck to their guns, had true confidence in Wub on that Brigitte, as well as all of their heroes, especially more on the Ana is my MVP for tonight. Brilliant gameplay. I'm so happy that we had the opportunity to cast Goats versus phase 2. What did you love to see, Rian?
Really loved the aggression of the tanks. We talked about it so much. Duplicate and Gators, such good duels, such talented players, really, and just knowing constantly what to do at the right time. But that's going to wrap things up for us here in the casting booth. Thank you all for tuning in to us. I was Rin. This was Katrina. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to follow Broadcast.gg. And again, we'll be back with more right after this. That, of course, aforementioned match between Shoes Money Crew and the winner of this match, which was phase 2. So see you guys then.
Thank you so much, guys. That was an incredible job. And it looks like the Open Division NA Season 3, these lower bracket finals are done. We are going to see that rematch now between phase 2 and Shu in the grand finals of the winners bracket. And guys, this was such a back and forth going all the way to map 5, Kenobi. I need like your thoughts right away on this.
I mean, these teams were a lot closer than, their previous round 1 map where it was very much phase 2 winning this very convincingly as a 3-0. But here, 5 maps is what we definitely deserve from both of these teams. The way they played, it was a mirror throughout. Both of these teams kind of fighting each other, playing mirror compositions throughout most of King's Row and throughout most of Nepal as well, just going toe-to-toe. And just a little bit for phase 2, it came out just ahead for themselves. And I think we definitely have some reasons why, Panda.
Yeah, and just coming right out of the gate as well, my brain is absolutely obliterated. Just my Rian's statement, the emphatic statement of how phase 2 was able to come out on their own 3-3 composition, even on King's Row included. They went tit for tat. They pulled out more on the Zenyatta. They kept Insomniac on the Lucio, finding those Discord orbs, finding the speed boost pressure. It almost came back to bite them in the butt of Nepal, but lo and behold, in the end, phase 2 stuck to their guns. That Ana more.
Hey, Panda, I think at one point we actually heard you get up and walk away from your computer because you just couldn't handle it.
That's how intense these matchups tend to be, especially at this at the level of Overwatch that these two teams are exhibiting here, Cookie. It almost feels like this tournament doesn't do justice for how hard these teams have been practicing, for how much they've been working towards. We're definitely going to be seeing Goats back into the trials. I'm sure that they are probably scratching their heads a little bit. The three-peat won't be there on their resumes, but still, they came out swinging. They came out looking pretty strong.
Hey, Kenobi, I'm curious to know your thoughts. So FaZe going back into this rematch, of course, this is going to be a rematch with the team that just beat them before they won against GOATs. And this is going to be their third set in a row. They've already had a really long day in Open Division. Do you think that's going to weigh on them mentally at all?
Yeah, they've been running through the gauntlet. I mean, they have to play Shoes, then they have to go up against a grueling 5-game set against GOATs, and now they're going to go into the grand finals, which is the best of 7. Already at a disadvantage 1-0 because Shoes is on that winner's side. So it's definitely it's going to be interesting to see how they deal with that. I think it's definitely they have it in the tank, right? You definitely need to have, if you're going to be a champion of Open Division, you need to have that kind of war of attrition style of mentality. We've played all these 2 games, but they've made us stronger. Like Pokemon Panda says, whenever a Super Saiyan almost dies, you get stronger. So I think they can do it. It's going to be a very close matchup, and I can't wait to see what we see between FaZe 2 and Shoes Money Crew.
Well, and this certainly felt like a Dragon Ball Z episode. It went on forever. But I want to know, Panda, from you, tell me, and then Kenobi, tell me who you thought your MVP through this whole thing was.
I'd probably give it over to Moore. Moore just really being able to stick back. You're laughing because you know it's true.
No, because I want to pick Moore.
I know. I bet you. Hey, you picking a support? That's my thing, baby. You know it is. But Moore, at the end of the day, sticking on that Ana, really keeping his tanks alive, just really enabling Hawk to find those Diva Bombs. Duplicate on that Reinhardt was always feeling the nano boost as well. Those biotic grenades, where you would think were there to boost the healing of the Reinhardt, were actually anti-ing Gator about 80% of the time. When the enemy Reinhardt is anti-ed the majority of a match, what are they going to do? They can barely even play the game.
And I'm going to piggyback off of Panda here. I think it definitely has to go to Moore if you're going to pick someone. I mean, we saw kind of what the difference is between having that Ana and not having that Ana, where you had Iker playing that Zenyatta. Gator was playing very, very aggressive on his Reinhardt, and then going in, almost getting antied every single time from Moore hitting these 4, 5-man antis, basically making Transcendence useless. A counter where you could just hit E and Transcendence is nullified, and he was just in perfect position the entire time. Panda mentioned it, keeping Duplicate alive so Duplicate could have that aggressive style at play that countered Gator, and I really like what Moore did, and Moore definitely gets the MVP for me too.
Well, also, I think we do have to settle a congratulations to Kenobi on correctly predicting that FaZe 2 would take this. However, I do have to give credit to Panda to saying that this was going to go to map 5, which it did. So perhaps congratulations to both of you.
We're all winners today.
Half and half.
We're all winners today.
We're all winners.
We are all winners here,
Panda,
especially at Broadcast.gg. And on that note, guys, we are going to cut to a little bit of a break, but do not go anywhere because we are moving on to the Open Division Grand Finals. It's going to be that rematch between FaZe 2 and Shoes Money Crew. It is going to be crazy exciting. I cannot wait to see what happens. But we've got to take a breath and have a little bit of a break before that game kicks off. Stay tuned. Broadcast.gg will be back with more very quickly.